Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Poison is infinitely stacked, shocking the school beauty. Chapter 81. Li Zunil felt that he seemed to be a little too strong. But there was a voice in his heart telling him, this is what he should do. After all, it was not easy to get through. He put aside his distracting thoughts and carefully observed the front. At this time, Li Chen carefully flew the sword to the two of them and flew quickly towards the destination valley. This place of divine punishment must be careful everywhere, because there may be flying beasts and monsters in the air at any time. At this time, in the Wolong City competition copy, the two sides were on the verge of a fight. The atmosphere was on the verge of an explosion. In this copy, Yu Fengchu Academy only have one Lin Yu who is a little stronger. Where do you get your confidence? Dare to fight with people from our two academies. Tanglong Academy's Saint Poison Mage Feng Wuqing mocked. The first mage of the Black and White Academy, Fang Xiao, also complained. That's right, you dare to say such arrogant words to let us all go. If we don't all go, wouldn't it be a disrespect to you? After the Black and White Academy and Tanglong Academy teams, Sha Libai and Qin Wangchuan stood at the back of the team at this moment. That's right, it's at the back, not at the front. Originally, the two were not going to come, but they were persuaded to come. But they were also very clear. They would not take action unless they had no choice. Because Li Chen and Li Zunil were not there, it was not worth it for them to take action. Otherwise, they felt it was a loss of status. Wang Hao immediately retorted after hearing the other party's ridicule. Whether you can win or not is one thing, and whether you dare to fight is another. Lin Yu also replied, that's right, you said that the people in our Fengchu Academy are cowards and turtles, we want to prove that we are not turtles. Yi Liangchen spit out lotus flowers and shouted, since you are here, go back and die quickly, and then call your Li Zunil and Li Chen to come. Hearing this, then let's see who dies. Wang Hao stopped talking nonsense and directly summoned the 80 level 8-star Frost Dragon, which was majestic and domineering. It was particularly eye-catching in the competitive dungeon. This made everyone present couldn't help but exclaim, this is a living 80 level Frost Dragon. Even Lin Yu, who was standing aside, was shocked. But he was not to be outdone. Without saying a word, he summoned the sky-swallowing python, which was huge and abnormal, echoing the Frost Dragon. For a moment, the two beasts stood out like a crane among chickens. Full of style, seeing two beasts that defied the sky appear at once. Sha Libai and Qin Wangchuan were both a little distracted. What the hell is this? However, this is not over yet. Lin Yu's lips moved at this time. He summoned another fierce bird, Baifeng, with a fiery red body and wings like flames, hanging in the sky, gorgeous and domineering. It was slightly smaller than the Frost Dragon, but it still caused quite a stir. Sha Libai and Qin Wangchuan both felt palpitations. What a guy! Lin Yu actually summoned two fierce beasts. Next to him, there was a fierce Frost Dragon, the Dragon Knight. What the hell is going on? They were even thinking. Is there any surrender in this competitive copy? Sha Libai looked at his classmates and couldn't find any fierce beasts that could fight against it. The two school beauties, Lin Xiao and Ouyang Cheng, were stunned at this time. Why are there three fierce beasts? This is not a martial arts ethics at all. It can be seen at a glance that Fengchu Academy seems to be a bit too strong. At this time, Lin Yu raised his lips slightly and said loudly, as you wish, now that you are here. Go. As soon as the voice fell, Wang Hao controlled the Frost Dragon to fly in the air, letting the Frost Dragon spit out ice breath at the opposite crowd. Lin Yu directly commanded the sky-swallowing python and the Baifeng bird to rush into the crowd. Sha Bingshe did not hesitate and waved her staff quickly. A huge fireball that made everyone's heart palpitate quickly condensed. It was the 7-star skill Nanming Lihuo. Nanming Lihuo followed her staff. It flew away quickly and smashed into the crowd. Boom! The high temperature of the flames instantly took away a group of students on the opposite side. There was a mess on the ground, and there were even some water stains. It was hard to tell whether it was sweat or water. At the same time, Fang Xiao, the first magician of the Black and White Academy, was not idle either. He waved his staff and cast a mysterious water magic. A huge ice ball hit the students of Fengchu Academy. It also took away a large number of students. And the Holy Poison Mage of Tanglong College also took action. He quietly released a cloud of poison among the people of Fengchu College. He also took away a lot of people. The two sides fought, and it was inevitable to have verbal disputes. You can chop if you want. Why the hell did you stab my little brother? How come you even come to steal peaches? You hooligan, you are taking advantage of me, that's too much. Who the hell tore off my pants? Give it back to me. Why is your dagger so thin, like a needle, are you wrong Momo? If I don't kill you today, I'm not Wong. Quote. At this time, the land of divine punishment, Li Chen said while flying the sword. Li Zunal, do you see the valley in front? After saying that, his hand pointed to a valley not far away. Li Zunal looked in the direction of the other party's hand. Sure enough, there is a huge valley, like a basin. I saw it. It's in here, right? Yes, it's in the east of this valley. Let's go and kill these beasts. The two continued forward without hesitation. Li Zunal put his left hand on Li Chen's shoulder and held a gorgeous 7-star staff in his right hand. He also had an 8-star staff in his backpack, but it was not of the right level and could not be used. So he had to use this 7-star staff to make up the number. This 7-star staff was the one with the highest attribute bonus among the 60-level 7-star staffs. For Li Zunal, even an ordinary staff would not affect his skill damage. It only affected his healing effect. It's coming, Li Chen reminded. I'm ready and can cover with fire at any time. Okay, let's go. As soon as Li Chen finished speaking, he flew to the east of the valley at a very fast speed on his sword. In a few breaths, he arrived at the valley range. On the ground, more than 10 figures that looked like mice from a distance were gathered together and whispered to each other. Suddenly, some of them found a flying sword in the air. There were actually 2 figures on the flying sword. Look, something is happening, someone shouted in surprise. Everyone was a little surprised, and then they were a little panicked. The flying sword profession is generally chosen by people from Sha country. People who change their professions in other countries basically don't have flying swords. And Sha country has a deep grudge against them. So, they panicked immediately. In their opinion, everyone who can fly a sword is very powerful. At this time, they found, the flying sword quickly passed over their heads, but did not stop. Everyone felt very strange. It just felt like being swept by a burst of green light. It was like being swept by a flashlight. As they stared at each other, they looked at each other's heads. Why do you have green on your head? What green? Don't talk nonsense. No, you have green on your head. You have it too, and so does he. Everyone looked at each other and found that they all had a dozen green halos on their heads. It looked like a green hat. Finally, no, my health is almost at the bottom. It's poison. No, take drugs. It seems useless. It's too late. Almighty, how can the sword-riding person be so shameful? A few seconds later, all the living things in the valley fell to the ground, completely losing their vitality. Li Chen flew back to the valley with Li Zunal on his sword, hanging in the sky. The two carefully checked the situation below, but did not find a single survivor. Very good. Li Chen smiled with satisfaction. These old fools had killed him in such a stupid way before. Now they were killed by me, isn't that okay? The depression in his heart dissipated completely. He looked at Li Zunal and said faintly, "Your poison seems to be really poisonous." What a joke, my poison deducts blood by percentage. Percentage, how long does it last? You can simply understand it as lasting until death. Li Zunal replied calmly, lasts until death. This is. Li Chen looked puzzled and spoke again. But I saw you kill the enemy in the competitive dungeon. That's the advanced use of poison. It's no exaggeration to say that I can really kill everything in seconds. After hearing this, Li Chen immediately had a deeper understanding of Li Zunli's strength. Very strong. He seemed to remember something, and his eyes lit up. I found a monstrous beast before, at least 9 stars, can you kill it? 9 stars, I can't kill less than 10, even if it's a 10-star monster, I'll kill it. Let's go, lead the way. Li Zunli's tone was very calm. Before, he only found more than 10 9-star beasts or monsters. And he killed them all, but unfortunately, nothing was dropped. I have to say, for others, killing the high-level monsters and beasts in this land of divine punishment is indeed not cost-effective. Li Zunul sighed. That is to say, he is so strong that he is abnormal, otherwise who would go to such great lengths to kill these monsters with such low explosion rates and extremely high risks. Li Chen saw that Li Zunul was full of confidence. Okay, let's go. But the beast is in a cave, it may take half a day longer. Half a day, no problem. He remembered that the luck crystal can last for 30 days, and there are still 10 days. In the competitive dungeon of Wolong City, the two gangs fought red in the face and panted. But there were not many people present. Only Lin Yu, Wang Hao, and Sha Libai were left. And Qin Wangchuan had disappeared long ago. At this time, suddenly, a person came into the competitive dungeon. Wang Hao, Lin Yu, stop fighting, hurry up, the 9th district has fallen. Monsters have descended, we need your beasts to fight. The person who came turned out to be the captain of the 9th district law enforcement team Tang Long. Because the phone could not be connected in the dungeon, so he rushed over without stopping. Lin Yu's sky-swallowing python and Bifang bird, Wang Hao's frost dragon, can all cause considerable damage to monsters. So far, Lin Yu's sky-swallowing python and Bifang bird have both reached level 55. Although sky-swallowing python and Bifang bird are only level 55 at present, they have grown into 7-star beasts. Their strength is much stronger than adventurers of level 70 or 80. And Wang Hao's frost dragon was an 8-star beast of level 80 at the beginning. In just 10 days, it helped Wang Hao's level rise to level 56. At present, Wang Hao's overall strength can even suppress Lin Yu. Hearing Tang Long's shout, Wang Hao and Lin Yu stopped immediately. Wang Hao turned to look at Tang Long, surprised and said, "What, the 9th district has really fallen?" Tang Long's face was solemn. Yes, the luck crystals in the 9th district are exhausted, and monsters have begun to descend one after another. Let's go back and help. After Wang Hao said this to Lin Yu, he turned and left without hesitation. Lin Yu turned to look at the few people in the Black and White Academy and Tanglong Academy. This is not the end, come again next time. After saying that, he also turned and left. After walking out of the copy, Wang Hao sat directly on the back of the frost dragon and controlled the dragon to fly to the 9th district. And Lin Yu also rode on his Bifang bird and flew to the 9th district at a high speed. Fengchu Academy is located on the edge of the 9th district and the 8th district. At this moment, Mayor Zhuge Tianming looked solemn. He was standing in the office holding a remote meeting. The audience of the remote meeting was the district heads of the 9 districts and the director of the Law Enforcement Bureau. District 9 has fallen. Do the other 8 districts really have no remaining luck crystals to share? Mayor, you know the situation in District 1. There is no. District 2 has no luck crystals either. They are also sending people to collect luck crystal fragments. District 3 has no luck either. There are only 2 months left. The luck will also run out. Quote. Hearing the unanimous answers from the other 8 districts, Zhuge Tianming's face was uncertain. He looking at Wang Hong in the video conference. Wang Hong, as the director of the Law Enforcement Bureau of the 9th district, how did you arrange it? Wang Hong said, I have sent people to collect the fragments of the luck crystal, but there is no news yet. In addition, law enforcers and a large number of semi-law enforcement adventurers have been arranged to be stationed at all times, but I am worried that there are not enough people. Zhuge Tianming looked at the law enforcement directors of other districts. The law enforcement bureaus in other areas have arranged some adventurers and law enforcers to support according to the previous plan. Okay. Quote. Zhuge Tianming continued. Let's not talk nonsense, and take action quickly. After speaking, the meeting was hung up by him. The law enforcement bureaus in various districts arranged people to start taking action. At this time, above the gray sky of the 9th district, there were constantly balls of light as big as houses falling. As if dumplings were being cooked, one after another, they fell on the high-rise buildings, streets, and roads in the 9th district. After the balls of light fell, monsters popped out of the light ball one after another. They ate people when they saw people, and destroyed things when they saw things. They kept shouting, so many girls, ha ha ha. Countless people who changed their professions had to hide from place to place. The adventurers and law enforcers stationed on duty all took action to kill the monsters that descended. For a while, Chaos. At this moment, Wang Hong called Li Zunul for the 18th time. No surprise. Still turned off. Li Zunli's phone ran out of power and turned off on the 10th day. Wang Hong was very helpless. He could see through the window that it was already bloody outside. But he was powerless. The only solution was the luck crystal, otherwise the 9th district would be useless. Monsters can never be killed. Killing monsters is just a temporary solution. This situation also exists in more than 100 other cities. It has become commonplace. Therefore, the responsibility of the guardian of Sha country is very great. A lot of luck crystals are needed to ensure normal operation. And there is still about a month before the agreed return time of the guardian of Sha country. At this moment, Zhao Hao's family of 3 are standing on the edge of the 8th district, watching the white mist light group descending from the sky of the 9th district, with a worried look on their faces. They had received the message from Li Zunul before and hid in the 8th district in advance. And he also replied to Li Zunul, telling him that he was in the 8th district and not to worry. Li Zunul knew the news. So, he didn't have any worries. Half a day later, Li Chen flew low on his sword and suddenly said, "Pay attention, we will soon reach the beast cave." Li Zunul was not in a hurry. "Don't worry, my legs are a little numb, and there is no seat." Li Chen couldn't help but glance at him. There's still room for a seat. Then just go do transportation. Li Zunul rubbed his legs. "Don't worry, I can kill monsters in seconds." Li Chen pulled the corner of his mouth. "Can't you be a little more modest?" "Hey, why are you being modest? Just do what you want." Quote. Li Chen was speechless. People should live in the present. Eat when you should eat, drink when you should drink. Li Chen looked at the carefree Li Zunul with envy. In his opinion, this guy is mainly not short of money. So he lives openly. Soon, the two quickly came to the entrance of a cave halfway up the mountain. The entrance of the cave was as big as a house, and the walls of the cave were charred black, as if it had been roasted at high temperature. Li Zunul couldn't help asking, "Do you know what kind of beast is in here?" "I don't know, a 4-legged beast with horns on its head. It looks like it can set fires. The surroundings are all roasted dry," Li Chen said cautiously. His voice was very low, as if he was afraid of alarming the beast inside. "It looks like there has been a camping barbecue here." Li Zunul looked puzzled, thought for a moment, and thought to himself, "Is this a fire unicorn cave? Will a unicorn arm or something explode?" Then, he cleared his throat and suddenly shouted, "Beast in the cave, come out to Grandpa." The voice was deafening and spread in all directions. The sudden shout confused Li Chen, who was cautious on the side. Unexpectedly, totally unexpected, this person actually did this when he came. If he does this, wouldn't he look stupid? Li Chen stared at Li Zunul in astonishment. "You're howling without even checking the truth. It's going to be a one-shot kill, why do I need to check the truth?" Li Zunul was nonchalant, holding the staff in his hand, ready for battle. His inner thoughts were, "I don't want to hide my weakness, nor do I want to play dumb. I've always said that I'm invincible, but there are always people who doubt me." He shook his head gently. He looked at the dark cave entrance and heard a thumping sound coming from inside. He turned his head to look at Li Chen and reminded him, "Stay back, I'm going to start poisoning." Li Chen immediately took 2 steps back. He jumped onto the giant sword in front of him, ready to help Li Zunul run away at any time. Boom boom. The sound in the cave was getting louder and louder, and the beast seemed to be getting closer and closer. Suddenly, the beast hadn't come out yet. Standing at the cave entrance, Li Zunul saw the fire in the cave, and the blazing flames rushed out. Seeing that the situation was not right, he immediately said, "Li Chen, stay away." Hearing this, Li Chen hurriedly said, "Come onto my sword." "No, just take care of yourself." As soon as the voice fell, Li Zunul directly performed sacred teleport and came to a few dozen meters away. A high-temperature flame gushed out of the cave, instantly carbonizing the plants near the cave entrance. Turned into a pile of black charcoal. Li Zunul was a little surprised when he saw this. This fire is only stronger than the power of the Nanming Lihuo. But he was not worried at all, quietly waiting for the fierce beast in the cave to make a brilliant appearance. Finally, after the flame disappeared, a beast with flames all over its body stood at the entrance of the cave. It was as big as an elephant, with a dragon head, lion eyes, tiger back, bear waist, snake scales, horseshoes, and ox tail. Li Zunul was shocked. This must be a fire unicorn. He immediately checked the information of this beast. Fire unicorn, 9-star beast. Level 90. HP 100%, 9 billion. Moral 0. Intelligence 2888. Physical strength 2888. Charm 2888. Strength 2888. Attack 3888. Defense 3888. Skill 1. Purgatory Fire. Fire unicorn can spit out purgatory fire from its mouth. This fire is extremely yin and soft. If burned by fire, even the soul will experience the torment of fire, which makes people despair. Skill 2. Crushing mountains and rivers. When the fiery Kirin kicks the ground with its forehooves, it will cause an earthquake within a radius of 100 meters. Once affected, the body will be crushed to pieces and no bones will be left. Skill 3. Soul Roar. Once the fiery Kirin uses this skill, the souls of all creatures within a radius of 100 meters will be controlled by the fiery Kirin. Introduction. The fiery Kirin is a legendary beast with extremely powerful strength and hot flames. According to legend, the fiery Kirin is a beast born from the Bagua furnace. Its body is made of fire and exudes a blazing breath. The flames of the fiery Kirin can burn everything, even the entire mountain. The veins melted. In ancient times, people believed that the fiery Kirin was a symbol of good luck and could drive away evil and disasters, but because it was possessed by demons, its temperament changed drastically and it often harmed the people. Note: this ferocious beast has both physical, magical and speed. It is recommended not to provoke it. Mantra: there is nothing that can't be solved by one fire. If there is, then 2 fires. If that doesn't work, then 3 fires. Cool, very cool. This beast is the strongest beast he has encountered so far, no one else. Who can do this? If it can't be killed instantly, the soul roar may easily make people feel like they are in heaven. The angry fiery Kirin saw Li Zunul and Li Chen. Without hesitation, it spit out a fire dragon with high temperature. It rushed towards them at high speed. The heat wave was soaring. Li Zunul immediately teleported to another location and hid leisurely. Li Chen flew away on his sword. Li Zunul did not hesitate, and immediately swung his staff to cast 2 balls of green light. It was the divine skill, Poisonous Milk is Poisonous. Both balls of light were composed of 100 dagger-like green rays. The green light instantly hit the extremely powerful fiery Kirin. No surprise. The arrogant, fiery Kirin roared unwillingly. Then he fell straight down. Dust flew everywhere. Seeing this, Li Chen, who flew away on his sword, turned back with surprise on his face. Although he did know that Li Zunul said he could kill everything in a second. But it's really a bit perverted. Isn't this divine punishment land his backyard in the future? And the teleportation-like displacement divine skill he just used. It's 2 against the sky. He saw with his own eyes that Li Zunul appeared in another place from one place in a second. Isn't this better than his sword-controlling skills? This is simply amazing. Li Chen was very envious, and his expression of envy was not concealed at all. At this time, Li Zunul teleported to the front of Fire Qilin and found that there was only one piece of equipment, shining brightly. The explosion rate is really low. He shook his head and took a quick look. Fire Qilin armor, 9 stars. Level requirement, 90. Intelligence, 600. Physical strength, 600. Charm, 600. Strength, 600. Skill, Soul Roar active skill. Using this skill, all enemies within 30 meters nearby can be unconscious for 5 seconds, CD is 10 seconds. Note: this is the body of the fiery Qilin, with all-round attribute bonuses, it's so strong. Li Zunul was slightly shocked when he saw the attributes of the equipment. There is no shortcoming, the attributes are ridiculously high. But when he saw the requirement of level 90, he threw it into his backpack. He looked at Li Chen and asked softly, "Is it okay for me to own this equipment?" Li Chen saw that he had already put it into his backpack, so he asked him, and felt that the question was a bit redundant. He pulled the corner of his mouth. "You killed it in the first place, what else can I say?" "Okay, let's go home and have fun." Li Zunul dusted off his clothes and prepared to leave. Li Chen nodded gently, and said while flying his sword. Okay, let's go back. Suddenly, he stopped, looked at Li Zunul, and asked curiously. By the way, that was your teleportation skill just now. The one that appeared in other places in a flash. Li Zunul. Yes, teleportation skill. Then do you still need to ride my sword? Of course, teleportation skills need to be cast many times, and your sword flying skills are much easier. Okay, Li Chen touched his chin. Quick, come up, go home. But the next second, Li Chen found that the sky was dark. He hesitated and said, it's troublesome, it's too dark now, and I can't see the road. Li Zunul. What do you mean? Find a place to stay for one night. Leave in the morning. Okay, Li Zunul nodded in agreement. The sky was already gray, and it was even more difficult to move at night. Mainly because you couldn't see clearly, so it was really troublesome to travel at night. Li Chen looked at the entrance of Qilin Cave, and his eyes lit up. How about this cave entrance? Okay, Li Zunul touched the mobile phone in his pocket and asked Li Chen. Does your phone still have power? My phone was broken during the battle, how about you? No power. Hearing this, Li Chen shook his head helplessly, then picked up 2 handfuls of straw and stuffed them into the mud wall of the cave entrance. He leaned on the straw and closed his eyes to rest. He didn't know what his sister was like now. Fortunately, the equipment in his package was enough to sell for a lot of money. Even if he paid off 3 million, there should be a lot left. He spoke quietly. Li Zunul, do you have any good channels to sell equipment? Selling equipment. I'm currently selling to Xia Bingshui's family. Xia Bingshui. Li Chen was a little surprised. He was a loner and didn't have many friends, so he didn't know much about gossip. Therefore, he didn't know very well that Xia Bingshui's family was doing business. Yes, do you want me to introduce him to Xia Bingshui's brother Xia Chang? He's very easy to talk to and welcomes people who sell equipment. Okay, then you take me with you. Okay, I'll go back early tomorrow morning. After I go back, I'll go to the hospital to see my sister first. Will you come with me? It'll only take a few minutes to fly the sword, and then go sell equipment. No problem. Li Zunul nodded. He didn't need those few minutes. Time flies. At this time, the 9th district of Wolong City is experiencing a purgatory on Earth. Monsters are rampant, killing humans, destroying facilities and buildings, and blood is flowing like a river. Streets, squares, rooftops, houses, hospitals. Tragedies are happening everywhere. Adventurers are constantly dying, and monsters are dying at the same time. Wang Hao and Lin Yu, who are perverted job changers, are controlling beasts and destroying monsters everywhere. Whenever they appear, nearby monsters are immediately cleared quickly. But in many other places, adventurers still find it difficult to kill monsters. Too tired to deal with it. This situation is only in the 9th district of Wolong City. Other places in Xia country are also happening. One night is gone in a flash. Some people sleep soundly, while others do not sleep all night. Some people are obsessed with money, while others die. Some people die in various postures, while others die in various postures. The land of divine punishment. Li Zunul was awakened by the cool breeze in the morning, slowly opened his eyes, and breathed in the fresh air. It's another beautiful day. He slowly got up, looked around, and found that Li Chen was still sleepy. He couldn't help but shout, Li Chen, sword saint. Handsome. Finally, there was movement. Li Chen slowly opened his eyes and looked at Li Zunul with misty eyes. Well, are you awake? Li Zunul took 2 steps outside and observed. Yes, let's go home. Okay. Li Chen got up lazily, twisted his whole body, and skillfully flew the sword in front of him. Let's go. Get on the sword. After Li Chen finished speaking, he jumped up first, and Li Zunul followed. Li Zunul couldn't help but ask, how long does it take to fly to Wolong City? Li Chen thought for a while and said uncertainly, it will probably take half a day. Li Zunul nodded and didn't ask any more questions. Li Chen flew directly on the sword, and the two stood on the giant sword, looking very elegant. The cold wind that passed quickly rustled. It's a bit cold, and a bit shaved. Li Zunul suddenly had an idea. Wouldn't it be embarrassing for you to fly a sword in the rain? You're overthinking it. After Li Chen finished speaking, a faint shadow appeared around his body, something like a layer of protective chi. He said proudly, "Although the protective chi on my body is weak, it is enough to protect against wind and rain. Why didn't you use it just now? I was afraid that if I used it and you didn't have it, you would feel unbalanced. If that's the case, you underestimated me." After Li Zunil finished speaking, he raised his hand and added a divine protection to himself. The golden shield protected his entire body, lasting for 30 minutes and cooling for 20 seconds. From level 45 to level 66, he added all wisdom, so the skill's gain effect was significantly improved. Suddenly, the cold wind could no longer invade Li Zunli's body. Li Chen smiled suddenly. "I overlooked this. You are still a priest. Isn't it like playing to add some status?" He paused. "Then I have to speed up. Add to the highest speed." Li Zunil was not worried at all. Li Chen gestured. The giant sword flew like a stream of light, quickly heading northeast of the god's punishment land. It flew for about 10 minutes. Li Chen suddenly found 3 figures on the ground fighting against a huge monster. His eyes narrowed slightly, and he found that he couldn't see clearly. "Li Zunil, there are 3 people below, do you want to go and see?" "Okay, if it's the remnants of the island country again, shake the egg yolks off for him." Li Chen smiled when he heard it. The speed of flying the sword slowed down. The 2 of them hung in the air in a swagger, observing the 3 people. The 3 people on the ground also found the 2 flying swords and were very surprised. The 3 immediately stopped attacking the monster. Instead, they looked at Li Chen and Li Zunil in a state of alert. The 3 people on the ground were all wearing masks and covering their faces. Li Chen and Li Zunil stared at the 3 people in confusion. They stared at each other. Suddenly, among the 3, a tall man, holding a longbow, spoke to confirm. "You are from Sha country." Li Chen and Li Zunil were not surprised because they had taken off their masks. Li Zunil asked calmly, "What about you? Who are you?" "Fengchu City, Wolong College Zhu Qi." "Fengchu City, Guigu College Gao Jianli." "Fengchu City, Langya College Lin Tianya." The 3 answered in turn and took off their masks to show their identities. Li Zunil looked at the 3 people, holding a bow and arrow, a long sword and a long knife respectively. It seems that the 3 are outstanding, otherwise they would not dare to come to this place of divine punishment. But since they are all from Sha country, there is nothing to be embarrassed about. Li Chen tilted his head and asked Li Zunil softly, "Let's go." Li Zunil nodded. "Let's go." Seeing the 2 people flying their swords to leave, someone asked, "Who are you 2? Li Chen and Li Zunil said, "Wolong City, Fengchu College Li Chen." "Wolong City, Fengchu College Li Zunil." After saying that, the 2 of them were like a stream of light passing through the sky, rushing towards Wolong City. The 3 people below looked at each other, constantly speculating. Not easy. Only the holy sword technique can carry 2 people. Half a day later, Li Zunil followed Li Chen on his sword and arrived in the territory of Sha. The 2 flew very fast. Li Chen smiled and said excitedly, "We are almost in Wolong City." "That's great." Li Zunil raised his eyebrows. "Are you so happy?" "Yes, I can see my sister. Before I left, her condition seemed to have improved. Although she was unconscious, she was aware of the sounds from the outside world." Li Zunil nodded suddenly. "Well, that's worth being happy about." As the 2 got closer and closer to Wolong City, Li Zunli's eyes were a little confused. He saw that there seemed to be an area in Wolong City where balls of light kept falling. And judging from the direction, it seemed to be the direction of the 9th district of Wolong City. He had a bad feeling in his heart. "Li Chen, did you see some light falling in some areas above Wolong City?" Li Chen looked carefully and nodded immediately. "Yes, indeed. That is, the arrival of monsters." Li Zunil and Li Chen's faces changed slightly. This phenomenon has been described in teaching textbooks and has also appeared in other urban areas. Sure enough, this moment has finally come. Although Li Zunil has always been prepared in his heart, he was still a little surprised when it really came. Fortunately, he knew that Zhao Hao and the others were not in the 9th district. It is relatively safe. At this time, Li Chen suddenly panicked and said hurriedly, "I don't know if the hospital is well protected. How is my sister?" After saying that, He immediately increased the speed of flying the sword and went to the third hospital in the 9th district. In less than 10 minutes, the two arrived at the third hospital. Seeing countless monsters wreaking havoc, Li Chen's face changed drastically. The third courtyard has fallen. What about his sister? Is she alive or dead? He flew directly to the 8th floor of the third courtyard on his sword and broke through the window. His sister was in room 808 on the 8th floor. The action of breaking the window gave Li Zunul behind him a shock. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. This guy Li Chen seems to think very much of his sister. Li Chen quickly ran to room 808. Seeing this, Li Zunul couldn't leave directly. He followed him. After all, he was a priest, he could recover and revive. He agreed to take a look. If he left, it would not be appropriate. He actually wanted to send the 6 luck crystals to Wang Hong now. It would only take 2 minutes to go. He thought so in his heart. After Li Zunul entered the room, he found that Li Chen was stunned. As if he had been electrocuted, his eyes were dull and full of sadness. And on the bed in front of him, a bloody girl, 15 or 16 years old, with a very pale face. Her chest was pierced and blood was still dripping from her body. Drop by drop, she fell to the ground. She looked dead, but it seemed like she had just died. Seeing this, Li Zunul cast a wind of revival on the girl without hesitation. But it was useless. Li Chen saw Li Zunul and suddenly grabbed his hand. His tone was very excited, as if he was grabbing a life-saving straw. Do you have a resurrection skill? Can you revive my sister? Li Zunul nodded. He checked his resurrection skill and found that the CD had cooled down. He looked at Li Chen's almost pleading expression and did not hesitate. He waved his staff quickly. A fist-sized white light ball quickly merged into the girl's body. After a few seconds, the girl actually opened her clear eyes and looked at Li Chen and Li Zunul in surprise. Li Zunul did not stop his hand movements. He continued to cast a wind of revival on the girl. She looked very safe and healthy. Li Chen was overwhelmed with joy when he saw this scene. He was so excited that his whole body was shaking. You woke up. You are not a vegetable anymore. Brother. The girl felt familiar with Li Chen's voice, but she was not sure. Li Chen nodded repeatedly, his tone full of excitement. It's me. Your name is Li Yu, my name is Li Chen, I am your brother, and you are my sister. He seemed to suddenly remember something, and pointed at Li Zunul. Yu, his name is Li Zunul, he is your savior. He is also my savior. We will remember him forever. Li Yu looked at Li Zunul nervously. Thank you for saving us. Li Yu seemed to have not spoken for a long time, and her pronunciation sounded a little awkward. It's nothing, I'm glad you're fine. Li Zunul smiled slightly. He didn't expect that the resurrection skill could not only revive Li Yu, but also restore her health. Could it be related to nirvana? It is hard to understand, he asked Li Chen. Has she been a vegetable before? No, after a disaster 2 years ago. Li Zunul nodded gently after hearing this. Then, he saw a charger next to the bed. So he immediately stepped forward to charge his dead phone and quickly turned it on. As soon as he turned it on, he found that there were a lot of missed calls. But the most missed call was from Zhao Hao. The second was Wang Hong. And it was a call that was just received recently. So, he called Zhao Hao first to ask what was going on. As soon as the call was connected, a voice came from the other end of the phone. Is that Li Zunul? I'm Zhao Hao's mother. The voice was very tired and helpless, even a little desperate. It's me, Auntie, why did you answer the phone? Instead of Zhao Hao. Zhao Hao is dead. Woo woo woo. When Zhao's mother said this, she burst into tears, almost hysterical. What? Zhao Hao is dead. Where? Li Zunli's face changed drastically. District 8, Leech Bridge. District 8, Leech Bridge. I'll be there. Li Zunul hung up the phone in a hurry. He looked at Li Chen with a complicated expression. I have something urgent to deal with, so the sale of equipment has been postponed. After saying that, he patted Li Chen's shoulder, and then teleported directly on the spot. The whole person disappeared in an instant. He rushed to the Leech Bridge in District 8 at a speed of 600 meters per second. At the same time, Li Zunul directly called Wang Hong. At this moment, Wang Hong was like an ant on a hot pot, turning around. Now even his law enforcement bureau has fallen. He has already taken a long knife and is killing monsters. When he heard the phone suddenly ring, he killed a monster and found a narrow space to check his phone. Lee Zunel. His eyes widened instantly. It's him. Did he come back? He immediately answered Lee Zunli's phone. Lee Zunli's cold voice came out of the phone immediately. I have collected the fragments of Kian crystal. If you want it, come to Leechbridge in District 8 to get it. Did you really collect it? Wang Hong was so excited that he didn't notice Lee Zunli's cold tone at all. Lee Zunel didn't reply, but hung up the phone directly. Wang Hong was stunned and didn't understand. He immediately looked for Tang Long's figure, shouting while looking. Tang Long, where did the dead person go? Go get the Kian crystal, for me. No one responded to him. He was feeling strange. Suddenly, his eyes narrowed and he saw a familiar body outside the Law Enforcement Bureau building. Tang Long was actually dead. Wang Hong's face changed drastically. His eyes were full of disbelief. He quickly stepped forward and shook Tang Long's body. There was no hope of life. Wang Hong's eyes were slightly moist. He had never expected it. Tang Long would actually be killed by a monster. There didn't seem to be any monster that was big enough to threaten him. Wang Hong looked around and didn't find any particularly powerful monsters. At a glance, they were all ordinary monsters. There was actually a knife wound on Tang Long's chest. That's right, knife wound. Wang Hong's pupils shrank slightly, feeling that this matter was not simple. But he couldn't think too much. Although he was a little sad, he resolutely stood up and went to the 8th District, Leechbridge in person. He had to get that luck crystal first. Soon, Wang Hong came to the 8th District, Leechbridge. He saw Lee Zunli's figure from a distance and shouted. Lee Zunel, I'm here. Very good. Come and see what's going on. Is there something going on? Wang Hong looked suspicious and hurried forward. He saw Lee Zunel looking at a corpse on the ground with a cold face. A middle-aged couple on the corpse were heartbroken. There was a young man and a woman standing next to Lee Zunel. They were Li Chen and Li Yu, who followed Lee Zunel because they were worried about him. Because they heard from Lee Zunli's phone that his brother was dead. See if they can help. Wang Hong rolled his eyes and looked at the corpse on the ground, and couldn't help asking. Who is he? Zhao Hao. Lee Zunli's tone was very unkind, and he looked at Wang Hong with anger. How could he not be angry? Wang Hong was specifically entrusted to take care of Zhao Hao, but he died when he came back. How could he do things like this? The key is that his resurrection skill was just used on Li Yu. It's not that I shouldn't use it, but it's very uncomfortable when they meet. Wang Hong's face was very ugly at this time. I remember, he is your brother whom you asked us to protect. Yes, what do you say now? Lee Zunli's tone was cold. Wang Hong's face turned pale. How long has he been dead? On Zhao Hao's body, Zhao Ma's eyes were tearful. He has been dead for more than half an hour. Wang Hong suddenly raised his head and looked at Lee Zunel, his tone hurried. Don't you have the resurrection technique? Save him quickly, it's still in time. Lee Zunel, however, held his hands in front of his chest, motionless. HMPH. He snorted coldly and turned his head to look at the gray sky above his head. Ah, this. Wang Hong was very puzzled. Li Chen's face was very complicated, and he slowly spoke at this time. I'm sorry, Lee Zunli's resurrection technique was just used on my sister. He lowered his head, his face was slightly red, and he seemed very embarrassed. Li Yu also lowered her head, not daring to look at Lee Zunel. At this time, Li Chen and Li Yu, both of them felt very guilty. If the resurrection technique had not been used on Li Yu, Lee Zunel could have saved Zhao Hao. So, they were also very uneasy and embarrassed now. Wang Hong looked at Li Yu next to Li Chen, and suddenly realized something. His shoulders collapsed instantly, and his tone was full of helplessness. I'm really sorry, we were too busy to take care of ourselves, and Tang Long is also dead. Lee Zunel was a little surprised to hear this. Tang Long is dead. He turned slightly sideways, glanced at Wang Hong, and did not speak. At this time, Wang Hong's face was full of sorrow, his face was very ugly, and his forehead wrinkles were very heavy, as if he had aged a few years in an instant. He felt very guilty. He had not done what he promised. How could he have the nerve to ask Li Zunil for the luck crystal now? He didn't have the face to do that. The death of Zhao Hao was almost the end of their relationship. Although Wang Hong knew he had no face to speak, he still spoke with a brave face. How did Zhao Hao die? There should be no monsters in the 8th district. Mother Zhao threw herself on Zhao Hao and cried, not wanting to talk anymore. Dad Zhao touched the tears on his old face. He was killed. Wang Hong was stunned when he heard this. Killed? He asked in confusion. Did you see who killed him? Dad Zhao shook his head, his voice trembling. I didn't see clearly, I only know it was an assassin with stealth skills. Wang Hong immediately squatted down and looked at the wounds on Zhao Hao's body. Sure enough, there was a huge and shocking wound on Zhao Hao's back. Wang Hong let out a long breath. This is a premeditated action. Tang Long was not killed by a monster. Hearing this, Li Zunli's eyes were full of murderous intent. Premeditated action. Who? Lin Lei. With a hint of coldness in his tone, he asked Wang Hong. Do you think it was Lin Lei? Wang Hong said uncertainly. It is hard to judge the current situation, and an investigation may be needed. Li Zunil was furious. Investigation? Why not just go to the door and ask? Li Zunil didn't want to investigate slowly at all, he just wanted to find the murderer quickly and avenge Zhao Hao. Wang Hong hesitated when he saw Li Zunli's cold look. But Lin Lei is the deputy director of the Law Enforcement Bureau of the 3rd District. Li Zunil was not afraid of Lin Lei at all, and he had never been afraid of him. Now that Zhao Hao is dead, he no longer has any weaknesses. So, he spoke without hesitation. No buts, I will go to him, Lin Lei, to ask clearly. If he did it, none of them will survive. The tone was unquestionable. Wang Hong showed great shock in his eyes. That's the Law Enforcement Bureau. Sha Country Law Enforcement Bureau. You have to think about it. There is a person in their Lin family who is the guardian of Sha Country, named Lin Shu. Li Zunil ignored him and looked, showing a trace of disdain. Lin Shu, kill him. After saying that, he turned around and prepared to leave. Wang Hong suddenly looked up and shouted. Li Zunil, although I know I don't have the face to ask you for the luck crystal fragment, but for the sake of the lives of the people in this area, can you give me one, even the lowest level? Li Zunli's steps stopped. After thinking for a moment, he took out the lowest 1-star luck crystal fragment and threw it to Wang Hong. This is for the sake of Fengshu Academy in the 9th district. After saying that, Li Zunil turned around and left, preparing to go to the 3rd district to find Lin Lei. At this time, Li Chen suddenly called Li Zunil. Li Zunil, wait. After saying that, he took a few steps forward and put his hand on Li Zunli's shoulder. I'm sorry, if it weren't for my sister's matter, your brother wouldn't. Li Zunil didn't speak, looking forward with deep eyes. He narrowed his eyes slightly, not knowing what he was thinking. Li Chen looked at Li Zunil seriously. If you don't mind, I, Li Chen, will be your brother in the future. Li Zunil was slightly stunned when he heard this, and then shook his head gently. The next second, Li Zunil disappeared from the spot in an instant, and was hundreds of meters away in the blink of an eye. Li Chen was stunned in the spot, a little dazed. A huge sense of guilt surged in his heart. Because of his sister, Li Zunli's brother lost the chance of resurrection. At this moment, he wanted to give his life to Li Zunil. Unfortunately, even if he gave it to him, Zhao Hao still couldn't be resurrected. Wang Hong looked at Li Zunil, who disappeared in an instant, and his pupils shook instantly. So, he has such a magical displacement skill. Li Yu walked to Li Chen's side awkwardly, at a loss. Brother, this. Li Chen shook his head gently, not knowing what to say. At this time, Wang Hong looked at the broken luck crystal in his hand, and then looked at Li Zunli's back. Silence for a long while. He sighed, slowly took out his mobile phone, and dialed Wang Hao's number with trembling fingers. Uncle, what's the matter? Wang Hao's puzzled voice came from the other end of the phone. Wang Hao, listen to me. Now, you go to the Law Enforcement Bureau of the 3rd District of Wolong City immediately. Li Zunil may go on a killing spree. Ah, Big Brother is going to go on a killing spree, so what is the purpose of asking me to go? His brother Zhao Hao is dead. I was wrong. No matter what he does now, you must support him. Even if, die in battle. Wang Hong's voice trembled slightly. He has a great responsibility for this matter. He must show his sincerity. If possible, he is willing to help Li Zunil, even if he dies. However, the people of the 9th district are still waiting for him, and he can't be so careless. On the other end of the phone, Wang Hao was stunned when he heard this, and then his tone became deep. Don't worry, uncle, I will definitely do it. After that, Wang Hao hung up the phone. Wang Hong nodded with relief, took the key and crystal, and quickly rushed to the 9th District Law Enforcement Bureau. The figure quickly disappeared in the gray fog. Wang Hong must quickly put the luck crystal into the luck crystal lamp. Luck crystal lamp is only available in the law enforcement bureaus of each district. Luck crystal lamp is magical. It can release the luck in the crystal. So, luck crystal fragments need to be put into the luck crystal lamp to work. The 1-star luck crystal lamp can basically radiate the area of a district. Now Xiaoguo basically uses 1-star luck crystal lamp. On the side, Li Chen settled Li Yu aside, his face solemn, and said in a deep voice. Yu, I have to go to the 3rd District Law Enforcement Bureau. I can't watch Li Zunil risk his life alone, I have to help him. Brother, will you be in danger? I don't know, if I can't come back, you still have to remember forever that Li Zunil is your benefactor. After saying that, without waiting for Li Yu to speak, Li Chen waved his hand, flew up into the sky with his sword, and left gracefully. Like a stream of light, he disappeared into the air. Brother, Li Yu raised her hand, with a trace of worry on her pretty face. She knew that her brother should help Li Zunil, because Li Chen repeatedly emphasized that Li Zunil saved him and himself. So, speaking of it, both of his brothers and sisters owed Li Zunil a life. But, Li Yu was still very worried about her brother's safety, which was human nature. She had just woken up from a vegetative state. She hadn't had a good talk with Li Chen yet. If Li Chen didn't come back, there was no doubt that she would be helpless and displaced. And she heard that he was going to cause trouble with the Law Enforcement Bureau. This Law Enforcement Bureau didn't sound easy to mess with. The Law Enforcement Bureau of the 9th District. When Wang Hong put the key and crystal into the key and crystal lamp, a vague breath radiated out in all directions. After sensing the breath, all the monsters quickly retreated out of the city as if they were guided by some mysterious force. As if this luck covering the 9th district was like poison to these monsters. Wang Hong saw the monsters retreating like a tide, and the white mist no longer fell from the sky. He let out a long breath. He had not rested since yesterday, and his eyes were full of bloodshot. At this time, he called Zhuge Tianming. The moment the call was connected, Zhuge Tianming couldn't wait to ask. Wang Hong, what's the progress now? Mayor, the luck crystal fragments have been obtained, with a completeness of 50%. It is estimated that it can last for 1.5 months, and the monsters have retreated. Good, well done. It will last for 1.5 months, and the guardian of Sha country should also be back. Zhuge Tianming nodded repeatedly. Wang Hong hesitated. Mayor. Speak, Zhuge Tianming said decisively. Nothing. Wang Hong hesitated, then changed his tone. I'll arrange someone to clean up the mess first, I won't say anything more. Okay, hurry up. After that, Zhuge Tianming hung up the phone. After Wang Hong hung up the phone, he stared blankly at the phone with the screen turned off. He is very worried now. Worried that Li Zunli's going to the 3rd district to find Lin Lei may be a fuse. Always felt something was wrong, but couldn't say it. Originally, he wanted to tell Zhuge Tianming about the matter, but he felt that this might interfere with Li Zunli's actions. He owed Li Zunil, so he just let him do it. At worst, everyone would just get involved. Because Wang Hao had already gone, he represented himself and the Wang family. He didn't want to shrink anymore. Tang Long's death is definitely suspicious. Zhao Hao's death is also problematic. There must be someone behind this, and the person being framed may be himself or Li Zunil. Wang Hong is very worried. If it is himself, who will take advantage of his misfortune and pit him? And if it is Li Zunil, what is his purpose? Kill the genius. At this time, the 3rd district, the Law Enforcement Bureau building. Li Zunil stood in front of the gate, scanning the 3rd district Law Enforcement Bureau building with cold eyes. He held the staff in his right hand, without covering up, and shouted loudly. Lin Lei, get out of here. The sound was deafening, and the law enforcers inside were all startled out. In a few seconds, a dozen law enforcers came out of the law enforcement building one after another. Li Zunil didn't take it seriously at all, just a chicken and a dog. Lin Lei. Who the hell is Lin Lei? After the voice fell, a burly middle-aged man walked slowly out of the crowd, and everyone made way for him. His eyes seemed to be burning with fire. Li Zunil, you came to my house. I was going to find you. You are Lin Lei. Yes, it's me, Lin Lei admitted carelessly. Li Zunil narrowed his eyes slightly and stared at Lin Lei. It's you who sent someone to kill my brother, Zhao Hao. Lin Lei frowned and seemed a little confused. Zhao Hao, why would I kill Zhao Hao? I found out that you are the murderer who killed Lin Hu, so of course I'm looking for you. Li Zunil was stunned. He carefully observed Lin Lei's expression, and it seemed that he was not lying. He looked thoughtful, and his tone was uncertain. Didn't you send someone to kill Zhao Hao? You killed my cousin, and I would kill you if I wanted to kill someone. Why Zhao Hao? Lin Lei actually said it with confidence. It didn't seem like he was lying. After Li Zunli's eyes moved for a moment, his eyes lit up. Then, he gently waved his staff, and a round green ball flew towards Lin Lei at high speed and hit him. Exactly, obey the poison. Lin Lei felt that there seemed to be something wrong with him. But he couldn't feel what was wrong. At this time, seeing that the other party had been poisoned, Li Zunil said indifferently. You are poisoned. If you don't do as I say, you will suffer inhuman torture. Poison. Tell me your plan to deal with me. Humph, why should I tell you? Lin Lei snorted coldly. He didn't take Li Zunil too seriously at all. Although he had already investigated that the murderer of his cousin Lin Hu was Li Zunil. And he also knew that Li Zunil seemed to be a bit powerful, the champion of the 3 major colleges competition. Very good at using poison. But he didn't believe that the other party dared to mess around in the 3rd Law Enforcement Bureau. As soon as the voice fell, he suddenly felt a sharp pain and found that his life value dropped directly by 5%. What's going on? This shouldn't be. Hiss. He felt as if his brain was pierced by countless needles. It hurts. It hurts so much. It hurts so much that tears come out of his eyes. Lin Lei's whole body starts to tremble slightly in pain. Li Zunil speaks again. Tell me the truth, did you send someone to assassinate Zhao Hao? No, I said no. You. Lin Lei starts to curse in pain. Li Zunil frowns. It seems that even if this person obeys orders, the other party may resist. At this time, Lin Lei's face twists, and he turns his head to look around. Catch him for me. The law enforcers around him immediately take action, ready to take Li Zunil down. Humph. Li Zunil snorts coldly. Then he looked at the group of people indifferently, raised his hand and waved his staff without hesitation, and gave everyone the smiling half-step bump. There were also people with fast hands, holding bows and arrows or staffs, and cast skills to bombard Li Zunil. But Li Zunil easily dodged it. After all, the skill of Holy Teleport is not a joke. Then, Li Zunil said indifferently, keep smiling, don't move, otherwise you will be tortured by severe pain. Of course, everyone would not listen to him and prepared to continue. It hurts. Why does it hurt so much? I also feel the pain of being stabbed in the head by a needle. Is this guy a devil? I do what he says, and it doesn't hurt. Sang Biao, why do you listen to him? Hee, there is no way, I have been afraid of pain since I was a child. Li Zunil still stared at Lin Lei indifferently. Hearing Lin Lei's affirmative tone, it seems that he did not send anyone to do it. Then, if it was not Lin Lei who ordered someone to do it, who else could it be? Who has a grudge against him? It seems that he has no life and death grudge with other people, right? Could it be that Zhao Hao has other enemies? But he has never mentioned it. The assassin who assassinated Zhao Hao. Who else could it be? The more Li Zunil thought about it, the more confused he became, and he was a little confused. Is this going to start suspense reasoning? He hates brain-burning games the most. The maze in the 100-layer magic tower last time almost burned his CPU. Originally, he was ready to kill a lot, and if he admitted it, he would just kill him directly. He would not hesitate at all and act immediately. But if the other party said that it was not him, then there might be someone fanning the flames. Those who fanned the flames would naturally be happy to see him slaughter the Lin family. The conflict with the Lin family intensified again. If it was, he had to find this person. Just as he was thinking, two figures suddenly appeared in the sky. Li Zunul looked closely and found that they were Li Chen and Wang Hao. One of them was standing in the air with a sword, and the other was riding a frost dragon with great dominance. Why did the two of them come? Li Chen was a little surprised. Especially Wang Hao. Why did he come? Li Zunli's eyes turned and he thought of the reason. It should be Wang Hong who asked him to come. Wang Hao laughed loudly and spoke first. Brother, are you going to destroy the Lin family? Just say one word and I will rush up and kill them. Li Chen also said seriously. Yes, Li Zunul, although you didn't nod, I regard you as my life brother. If you want to kill anyone, just say it and I will do it for you. Li Zunul felt a little warm in his heart when he heard what the two said. If nothing else, just this attitude, it's really good. It's really good when there's something going on. It's worth it for me to work so hard to get a dragon pet for Wang Hao. Li Chen's life was not saved in vain. Li Zunul was very relieved. Then, he shook his head. It's not someone sent by Lin Lei. There must be someone who is fanning the flames in the dark. I need to find him out. Wang Hao was very surprised and blurted out. What? Someone else is here to do something. It won't be an old shady guy like Qin Wangchuan, right? Before, in the competition among the three colleges, Qin Wangchuan's viciousness was well known, and everyone avoided him. No one wanted to provoke him. Li Zunul couldn't help but think about this person when he heard Wang Hao's unintentional words. Qin Wangchuan, he was indeed an assassin, and behind him was Qin Tian, who happened to be the deputy director of the 9th district. Does the deputy director have a motive? Then he thought that Tang Long was dead again. According to Wang Hong, Tang Long's death was also strange. Li Zunli's eyes lit up immediately. A bold guess came into his mind. Could it be that Qin Tian wanted to become a regular employee? So he wanted to add fuel to the fire and destroy Wang Hong and his wings, so he did this. After all, he had contact with Wang Hong. What are you thinking about? Just ask Qin Tian and you will know. Thinking of this, he suppressed his thoughts and stared at Lin Lei coldly. Are you going to kill me sooner or later? Lin Lei's eyes were full of anger, and he stared at Li Zunul fiercely. My Lin family will definitely kill you. When Li Zunul heard this, his eyes narrowed slightly, like a demon who was about to start a killing spree. Who else wants to kill me? At this time, 3 more people from the law enforcement team stood up. Li Zunul, you dare to offend our Lin family, you are completely finished. That's right, this person is ignorant of the sky and the earth, and dares to go against my Lin family. I don't know how to write death. If you dare to touch my Lin family, you will be crushed to ashes and shaken to pieces. Seeing this, Li Zunul no longer had any idea of letting him go for the time being. Since they will have to fight sooner or later, then why not take the initiative to attack? Let them know the consequences of angering themselves. He raised his hand and waved it, and 2 light green deadly halos hung on the heads of Lin Lei and the other 3 people in the Lin family. He said coldly, you only have 50 seconds to call and tip off. He paused. Today I will put my words here. If you dare to offend me, Li Zunul, your Lin family will be destroyed. Even Lin Shu can't do that. Hearing this, Lin Lei and others widened their eyes and showed disbelief on their faces. Lin Shu, but he is the highest fighting force of the Lin family and one of the guardians of Sha country. He is also an important umbrella for the Lin family. But they actually heard Li Zunul belittle Lin Shu like this. Why does he do that? It's ridiculous. They took out their phones without hesitation, and their fingers tapped on the phones quickly. Obviously, they wanted to inform the important people of the Lin family of this situation. But Li Zunul was not afraid at all. At this time, Wang Hao suddenly said loudly, and I, Wang Hao, am irreconcilable with your Lin family. Li Chen was not willing to lag behind. Add me, Li Chen. Hearing this, Li Zunul couldn't help but turn his head to look at Li Chen and Wang Hao, who looked determined. He was very surprised. He dared to shout at the Lin family because he was invincible. But the 2 of them actually said so, which might involve them in a bloody storm. And they both have concerns behind them. This really gave Li Zunul a headache. He had nothing to worry about just now, and if these 2 people did this, wouldn't it make him feel constrained again? Wang Hao and Li Chen seemed to have discovered Li Zunli's concerns. Wang Hao said loudly, "Don't worry, big brother. You don't have to worry about my life or death. I volunteered." Li Chen also nodded gently. "Li Zunil, Li Yu and I owe you 2 lives. You don't have to worry about our life or death. Just do what you want and act spontaneously." Li Zunil was thoughtful when he heard this, and did not answer. Then, he turned slowly and looked at the other poisoned law enforcers. "Other people who are not from the Lin family, I will let you go today. After an hour, the poison will naturally be removed." After saying that, Li Zunil teleported to Li Chen's sword. This move made Li Chen stunned for a moment. He thought to himself, "Good guy, it's a pity that you don't play assassin. Teleport to stab someone in the back." Li Zunil spoke solemnly. "Li Chen, you should first take care of your sister, and help me deal with Zhao Hao's body. Wang Hao, go find Tang Xiaosan and bring him to the Law Enforcement Bureau. His spiritual skills are very useful. I will go to the 9th Law Enforcement Bureau to find Wang Hong and Qin Tian now." "Okay, big brother." Wang Hao nodded, and flew away on the dragon. Li Zunil patted Li Chen's shoulder. "Pay attention, you must take care of your sister, don't let regrets happen again." Li Chen nodded thoughtfully. "Okay, I'll take care of it now." Li Zunil was relieved when he heard it. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared from Li Chen's flying sword and rushed to the 9th District Law Enforcement Bureau. And Li Chen flew away on his sword. He was going to the Leech Bridge in the 8th District to deal with the affairs of Li Yu and Zhao Hao. And the scene of the 3rd District Law Enforcement Bureau. Lin Lei and the other 3 fell to the ground silently one after another, losing their lives. This stunned the law enforcers next to them. 4 law enforcers died in the blink of an eye, one of whom was the deputy director of the Law Enforcement Bureau. How could this be? They were so arrogant that they came directly to the Law Enforcement Bureau to kill the law enforcers. Not to mention that the Lin family was already powerful. The Law Enforcement Bureau itself had great authority and could not be challenged. No one had ever dared to be so arrogant. They couldn't help but murmur in their hearts, "This Li Zunil will definitely not have a good end." They knew that many masters of the Lin family would definitely be dispatched. On the list of the top 100 masters in Xia country, the Lin family accounted for more than 20. They heard, this time, the Lin family will send 6 top 100 bosses on the list to deal with the restless Li Zunil. Maybe, it will come within 1 or 2 days. At that time, I'm afraid there will be a bloody storm. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Li Zunil kept using Holy Teleport to rush to the 9th District Law Enforcement Bureau. Elusive, he disappeared from the spot after taking 1 step, and disappeared from the spot again after taking another step. This made passers-by rub their eyes to see if they were dazzled. But after rubbing their eyes, they found that they saw nothing. They could only mutter in their hearts, "What a hell." 9th District Law Enforcement Bureau. Wang Hong stood quietly in front of the building, looking at Tang Long on the ground with moist eyes. He slowly bent down and squatted in front of Tang Long's body. He gently put his hand on Tang Long's body and gently tidied his appearance. At this moment, he had extremely complicated emotions in his heart. Tang Long had been with him for 12 years. He was his confidant and the most trustworthy subordinate. He could tell Tang Long all his grievances, and the other party never complained. He liked Tang Long's personality very much. Know the limits, be reasonable, bend and stretch, be humble when necessary and be crazy when necessary. He has already cultivated Tang Long as a potential candidate for the next director of the Law Enforcement Bureau. He also planned to let Tang Long take over his position after he retired in a few years. Unfortunately, Wang Hong was filled with emotion. The parents of the 2 brothers Tang Long and Tang Xiaosan also died in the fight against monsters. They are also unlucky and miserable people. It really fits the saying, "Hemp ropes break at the thinnest part, and misfortune finds miserable people." Thinking of this, Wang Hong's nose was sore and he almost shed tears. At this time, in front of the building, other law enforcers have been standing quietly nearby one after another, quietly watching Wang Hong and Tang Long. No one dared to speak easily, because they knew that the relationship between Wang Hong and Tang Long, in addition to the relationship between superiors and subordinates, is also the kind of relationship between close friends. Now he must feel very uncomfortable and complicated. Finally, a middle-aged man walked out of the crowd slowly. Then, he walked in front of Wang Hong, with a melancholy tone. "Old Wang, I really didn't expect that Tang Long would sacrifice himself." Wang Hong didn't look back, didn't speak, and remained silent. He knew from the voice that it was Deputy Director Qin Tian who was speaking. Qin Tian. He didn't like him because the other party was a person who would do anything for power. He abandoned his wife and children to marry the daughter of a wealthy businessman, and stepped on others all the way to his position for his career. Thinking of this, Wang Hong looked at the wound on Tang Long's body that was stabbed by a knife. He couldn't help but associate it. Could it be Qin Tian? He had coveted his position for a long time. Knife wound. Qin Tian happened to be a swordsman. Wang Hong suppressed his guess and his eyes kept turning. At this time, a figure suddenly appeared in front of everyone. Very abrupt. It suddenly appeared like a ghost, startling everyone. It was Li Zunil, who was full of confusion. Li Zunil saw Wang Hong and Tang Long's body. He stared at Wang Hong thoughtfully. "Director Wang, I have a guess. I wonder if it's convenient to tell me." Wang Hong heard Li Zunli's voice, turned his head suddenly, and looked surprised. You are back." "Yes, I'm back. Over there. Lin Lei is dead." Wang Hong was stunned when he heard it. He actually killed Lin Lei. Beside, Qin Tian showed a sinister smile on his face without leaving any trace. Wang Hong slowly stood up, pulled Li Zunil to a corner, and said in a very low voice. "What guess?" Li Zunil said softly. "I suspect Qin Tian." Wang Hong raised his eyebrows and looked at Li Zunil seriously. "I also suspected him, but I just need investigation and evidence." Li Zunil didn't care. "Investigate? What to investigate? Can't you just ask directly?" Li Zunil didn't care about so many rules and regulations. He ran directly to the 3rd Law Enforcement Bureau to question Lin Lei in person. What can Qin Tian do? After that, Li Zunil turned around and looked at the law enforcers. "Who is Qin Tian?" Qin Tian was startled when he heard the words, and then calmly said, "I am Qin Tian, what's the matter?" Li Zunil said directly. "Why did you send someone to kill my brother?" It was a very abrupt sentence, as if it confirmed the evidence of Qin Tian. Qin Tian remained calm and spoke slowly. "Who are you? What do you mean by sending someone to kill your brother? I didn't know about this. Don't frame me." Li Zunil stared at Qin Tian carefully, as if trying to see some clues from his face. He folded his hands in front of his chest and said slowly, "Then do you dare to accept the control of mental skills and tell the truth in your heart?" Qin Tian changed slightly when he heard this and shouted, "I am a deputy director, you can do whatever you say, don't I want to save face?" His tone was full of resistance. "Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you have a powerful poison." Li Zunil laughed when he heard this. "You just asked me who I was. Now you know that my poison is powerful. Have you asked for my information?" Qin Tian's face turned pale and he immediately realized that he had let the cat out of the bag. He gritted his teeth and shouted in a deep voice, "No matter what, I can't accept the control of mental skills. You are insulting me." Li Zunil chuckled. "HMPH. Tang Shaoxin will be brought in later. Whether you are the man behind the scenes will soon be revealed." Originally, Li Zunil wanted to use the obedient poison, but felt that he couldn't prove the lie, and mental skills were more suitable. So he asked Wang how to bring Tang Shaoxin. Qin Tian's face changed drastically when he heard this. "How unreasonable. If you dare to use mental control skills on me, I will not let you go." Qin Tian's voice began to get a little angry. Aside, Wang Hong saw this, and a trace of thought appeared in his eyes. Qin Tian's irritable state was already a bit obvious. He was very likely to be the mastermind behind the scenes. Qin Tian then called out to Wang Hong directly. "Old Wang, this is a law enforcement bureau, you let this kid mess around like this?" Wang Hong looked at Qin Tian meaningfully, but did not speak. Instead, he held his chin and fell into deep thought. The silent Wang Hong made Qin Tian even more flustered. Obviously, Wang Hong seemed to have doubts about himself, so he chose to turn a blind eye. At this time, a giant suddenly flew in the sky. Frost Dragon. On the back of the dragon, Wang Hao took Tang Shaoxin and flew towards the Law Enforcement Bureau. The wings of the dragon spread out very wide, and it felt like it was covering the sky and the sun, and it was extremely domineering. Qin Tian saw Wang Hao's frost dragon and Tang Xiaosun on the dragon's back. Suddenly, he felt like a thorn in his back and a lump in his throat. Qin Tian's face was uncertain, and his eyes kept rolling. He knew very well that once Tang Xiaosun arrived, he would be controlled by his mental skills. At that time, everything will be revealed. Suddenly, he tensed up and was furious. You Li Zunal, Wang Hong, how dare you insult me like this? I will definitely not let you go. After saying that, Qin Tian threw his sleeves and left angrily. Li Zunal would naturally not let him go. He appeared in front of him with a teleportation and looked at him coldly. You feel guilty. Qin Tian's face flushed. HMPH. I didn't do anything wrong, why should I feel guilty? Then why don't you dare to accept mental control? This is an insult, I will never agree to it. After Qin Tian finished speaking, he held the long knife in his hand and said unceremoniously. Get out of my way. He swung the long knife violently and chopped at Li Zunal. Seeing this, Wang Hong immediately swung the knife and stopped Qin Tian. Qin Tian, are you crazy? You actually attacked him. What? He is great, he is noble, he is the one who brought back the fragments of the luck crystal. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is the reborn parent of the 9th district. So what? You can't insult me. I can't accept it even if I die. After speaking, Qin Tian directly held the long knife and stabbed his chest fiercely. Puff! Qin Tian's chest was bleeding instantly, and he muttered in pain. Dashwan, I'm sorry for you and your son. After muttering, his body fell softly. Too sudden. Wang Hong's face changed. Unexpectedly, this is very troublesome. Because his son is the Shadow Saint Thorn, Qin Wangchuan. He took out his cell phone from Qin Tian, and after a while, he said in a deep voice. There are chat records between him and Qin Wangchuan in his cell phone. The time has come, act quickly. Li Zunal looked uncertain. It seems that these few words alone cannot be completely confirmed. We must confront Qin Wangchuan face to face. Chapter 91. Could it really be Qin Wangchuan who did it? Li Zunal kept guessing. If it was really him, it would not be easy to get rid of him. Everyone has seen his Saint Clone technique and his strength. Coupled with his stealth and invisibility, he is undoubtedly a very difficult guy to deal with. His invisibility is almost as bad as his teleportation. As long as he wants to hide, it is difficult to find him. However, regardless of whether Qin Wangchuan killed Zhao Hao or not, Qin Tian died here today, and Qin Wangchuan would definitely take revenge. If Qin Wangchuan wanted to kill himself, there would be nothing to worry about. He has the talent of immortality and is not afraid of him at all. But if he is aiming at others, it will definitely be a nightmare. While Li Zunal was thinking, Wang Hao and Tang Xiaosun jumped off the back of the dragon. Tang Xiaosun rushed to Tang Long's body, his eyes were red, his voice was hoarse, and he was choking. Brother, brother, he cried and shook Tang Long's body. Tang Long's death was like the sky falling for him. He was the only one left in this world. Alone. He was not mentally prepared at all. Because of the monsters coming to this world, many people's homes are not complete. And the monsters in the 9th district that lasted for 2 days. There will inevitably be many orphans. And broken families. On the other side, Wang Hao walked up to Li Zunal with a confused look on his face. Brother, this Qin Tian. He committed suicide out of fear of punishment. Is he the one behind this? Otherwise, I guess he wouldn't commit suicide. Suicide is currently the best way for him to cover up this. You should pay attention to Qin Wangchuan in the future. You all know how powerful he is. After Li Zunal finished speaking, he slowly walked towards Wang Hong and said coldly. I still have the luck crystal fragments, but I am very disappointed this time. If you still want the luck crystal fragments, come with sincerity, otherwise, forget it. Li Zunal slowly turned around and looked at Tang Long's body and the emotional Tang Xiaosun expressionlessly. He retracted his gaze and sighed. The next second, disappeared on the spot. Wang Hong saw his figure disappearing in an instant, and his eyes were very complicated. He never expected that this outrageous thing would happen this time. Zhao Hao died, Tang Long also died. And Li Zunal succeeded in finding a dragon pet for Wang Hao, and also succeeded in collecting the fortune crystal. Speaking of which, Zhao Hao's death and Tang Long's death were both his own faults. Shameless. Totally shameless. His shoulders slumped, his eyes were blank, and he was dejected. For a long time, he chose to call Mayor Zhu Tianming. Wang Hong, what's the matter? Come on, Mayor, do you know Li Zunil? Li Zunil, I remember him. He's the champion of the 3 colleges competition, the one who cursed Fengshu College. He still has the luck crystal fragments in his hand. If you need the luck crystal, you can find him. Find him? Who? Why not you find him? Wang Hong's tone was a little hesitating. I didn't do the job for him, so I don't have the face to find him. Okay, I get it. Is there anything else? Qin Tian, the deputy director of my law enforcement bureau, died, and Lin Lei, the deputy director of the 3rd District Law Enforcement Bureau, also died. What? 2 deputy directors died in a row. What the hell are you doing? Zhu Tianming's tone was very dissatisfied. Besides, the Lin family is a big family. How did it happen? Lin Lei was killed by Li Zunil, and this contradiction is probably irreconcilable. Wang Hong's voice was filled with some worry. He could no longer control this issue, so he simply threw it to Zhu Tianming. Let him worry about it himself. Zhu Tianming did not speak again, but fell silent. After a while, he hung up the phone directly. Wang Hong held the phone, frowned, and sighed. He looked at the law enforcers on his left and right. From now on, all law enforcers assist the semi-law enforcement adventurers in carrying out security management operations in the area and restore order in the 9th District as soon as possible. On the streets of the 9th District, Li Zunil looked at the devastated streets, with dilapidated buildings and bloody bodies everywhere. Shocking. This was the first time he saw the cruel scene after the monster came. So bloody and outrageous. One by one, the living people turned into cold corpses. He sighed. I wonder how many more orphans will come out. I am an orphan. Li Chen is also an orphan. Perhaps there are more children who lost their parents and became orphans because of the monster's arrival. And all of this is because of the monster's arrival. He looked up at the gray sky. It was so deep and mysterious that he couldn't see clearly at all. At this time, his cell phone suddenly rang. Li Zunil took out his cell phone and saw that it was an unknown number. He answered the call in confusion. Who is this? Excuse me, is this Li Zunil? The other party's tone seemed very polite. Yes, who are you? My name is Sha Mo, and I'm from the Sha family. Sha Mo from the Sha family. What do you want to talk to me about? We have something very important and want to talk to you in person. Do you have time? Talk in person. Sorry, I don't have time. Li Zunil simply refused. He didn't want to get involved in too many things. Sha Mo's voice came from the phone immediately. Don't you want to know more about the Lin family? Lin family, do you know that I have a dispute with them? Li Zunil was a little surprised. Of course, we already knew about this. We have an intelligence network. But I'm not interested, thank you. Li Zunil refused again. He was invincible and had nothing to worry about. He would kill gods and demons. Without waiting for Sha Mo to speak, Li Zunil said again. I have something else to do. That's it. Hang up. After that, he hung up the phone. The battery of his mobile phone was running low. It took less than 5 minutes to charge, so he had to save some power. He immediately called Li Chen. Li Chen, where are you now? I'm 10 miles east of the 9th District, burying Zhao Hao's body. Okay, I'll be there right away. After Li Zunil hung up the phone, he was ready to leave immediately. Suddenly, he scanned a familiar face with his peripheral vision. Qin Chuan. He saw Qin Chuan sitting on the side of the street in despair, staring blankly at the blood on the street. Li Zunil remembered that he wanted to help him before. So, he walked over slowly, and Qin Chuan was so distracted that he didn't notice Li Zunil. After Li Zunil approached, he tentatively called out. Qin Chuan. Qin Chuan heard someone calling his name, and turned his head tiredly to look at Li Zunil. His eyes were slightly surprised. Li Zunil, I see that you don't seem to be in good condition. Li Zunil said truthfully. Qin Chuan shook his head, with a trace of regret and sadness on the corner of his mouth. Look, the body next to it is my mother's. Qin Chuan's tone was trembling, and his eyes were wet. Li Zunil took a look and saw a woman's body with her entire stomach slashed by an unknown object, which was extremely cruel. It made people's scalps numb. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have done it for the seemingly generous commission. I'm such a big idiot. Qin Chuan slapped himself hard in the face. He suddenly seemed to remember something, his eyes lit up. By the way, do you have a resurrection skill? Yes, but it cannot be used without a cooldown. My brother died, and I couldn't revive him. The light in Qin Chuan's eyes quickly went out, and he said bitterly. This may be fate. I have bad news about you, I think I need to tell you. What news? Your father Qin Tian is dead. Dead. Qin Chuan suddenly raised his head and looked at Li Zunil. Seeing Li Zunil nod affirmatively, the complexity in his eyes deepened. He's dead. That's good news. Li Zunil looked at Qin Chuan's helpless state, and his mood was a little heavy. There is no way. This world is so ruthless. Himself, Zhao Hao, Li Chen, Tang Long, Qin Chuan. Everyone has a difficult story behind them. In comparison, he is still the luckiest one. No burden, one person is full, the whole family is not hungry. Li Zunil felt melancholy. He patted Qin Chuan's shoulder. Take care. Gone. Qin Chuan nodded dejectedly, with sadness in his eyes. In Li Zunli's view, Qin Chuan is just a microcosm of the insignificant people in this world. Such people are everywhere. District 9, 10 miles east of the city. When Li Zunil came here, Li Chen had already dug a pit with his sword, buried Zhao Hao in it, and had piled up the earth. Seeing Li Zunli's sudden appearance, Li Chen had mixed emotions. You're here. Yeah, I'm sorry, because of my sister, your brother. This is my problem, I should have come back earlier. Li Zunli's tone was melancholy. There was a trace of tears in his eyes, looking at the mud pile, dazed. Unexpectedly, he couldn't be saved no matter how he tried. I thought it was the Lin family who killed Zhao Hao, but it turned out not to be. It was most likely that Qin Tian asked someone to do it. This was something he had never expected. In Li Zunli's view, Qin Tian's motive was very obvious, to intensify the conflict between himself and the Lin family, as well as the conflict between the Lin family and Wang Hong, to abolish Wang Hong and take over himself. In addition, he couldn't think of any other reasons. He couldn't think of anyone else. He wanted to find Qin Wangchuan to confirm, if it was really him, he would get rid of him. Li Chen stood quietly in the same place, without speaking again. I don't know what he was thinking about. Here, only the two of them looked at the pile of dirt in silence, without saying a word. Zhao's father, Zhao's mother and Li Yu were arranged by Li Chen to stay in the hotel in the 8th district. Li Zunil was full of thoughts, and his mind was full of those funny scenes of him and Zhao Hao pitting each other in the past. That cowardly look, that fearful look, that wretched look when he couldn't walk when he saw a beautiful girl. That stingy look when he was frugal. That look when he loved to take advantage of others. That embarrassed look when he was chased by monsters. For a long time, Li Zunil sighed and finally spoke. Li Chen, you shouldn't have gotten involved in the dispute between me and the Lin family. Li Chen looked at Li Zunil seriously. I can't sit and watch you fight alone. I owe you too much. Your brother's death has a lot to do with my sister's resurrection. Li Zunil slightly turned sideways and turned his head to look at Li Chen. Do you know what my talent is? I don't know. SSS level talent, immortality. No, immortality. That's right, I only told you this secret. Li Chen was shocked when he heard this. He actually had the talent of immortality, and it was SSS level. He thought his S-level talent was already abnormal enough. In comparison, the gap is too big. Immortality means infinite possibilities. Li Zunil looked at Li Chen's shocked expression and continued. Plus, I am an orphan. I am not afraid of anyone from the Lin family, even Lin Shu, so I am qualified to challenge anyone, but you are different. You and Wang Hao don't have that strength, because you are not strong enough, and you have weaknesses. Hearing this, Li Chen immediately understood that the weaknesses he was talking about were relatives and friends. For him, his sister was a weakness. He shook his head, as if he had already planned it. So, I want to enter the Super God Academy and become a member of the Super God Academy. My immediate family members can be absolutely protected. Li Zunil was a little surprised when he heard what Li Chen said. Immediate family members, absolute protection. Li Chen nodded affirmatively. Yes, the Super God Academy has this strength, because the top and second in command of the Super God Academy are both guardians of the Sha Kingdom, and the top families dare not provoke them. Li Chen was full of confidence. Originally, he didn't have this idea very much, because his sister still needed his frequent care. But now Li Yu has returned to normal. In addition, he was involved in the confrontation with the Lin family, so entering the Super God Academy was a good choice. The main reason was, the Super God Academy could provide absolute protection to the immediate family members of the Super God Academy. That's good. Li Zunal approved of Li Chen's choice and judgment. He himself did not have any particularly strong thoughts about the Super God Academy. Before, because of Zhao Hao, he still had some concerns. But now, there is no more any scruples. The sky is high and birds fly freely, the sea is wide and fish leap freely. The Lin family and Qin Wangchuan are the two problems he needs to solve at present. But he is not in a hurry. He believes that they will take the initiative to find him. Li Zunal folded his hands in front of his chest and glanced at Li Chen. What are your plans next? Sell the equipment to pay you back, hide my sister, and prepare for the assessment of the Super God Academy. Then let's go, take you to sell the equipment. Li Zunli's eyes were withdrawn from Zhao Hao's grave. He planned to take Li Chen to sell the equipment, and then confront Qin Wangchuan to ask whether he killed Zhao Hao. Li Chen directly suspended the sword in front of him. Let's go, get up. On the way, Li Zunal contacted Sha Bingshe and Sha Cheng, and told them that he and Li Chen were going there. The speed of flying the sword was very fast. Much faster than taking a car. In a few minutes, the two were sitting in Sha Chenghei's office. In the office, besides Li Chen and Li Zunal, there were only Sha Bingshe and Sha Cheng. Sha Cheng was the first to speak with a smile. Li Zunal, I haven't seen you for a few days, you look more handsome. Li Zunal forced a smile. Boss Sha is still so good at talking. Sha Cheng laughed. The person next to you is Li Chen, right? Yes. Sha Cheng immediately exchanged a few words with Li Chen. Soon, Sha Cheng got straight to the point. Believe me, let's go directly to the warehouse to estimate the price of the equipment. Li Chen nodded gently. Since Li Zunal believes in you, then I will naturally choose to believe in you. Li Zunal slowly stood up. Let's go. Let's do business. Sha Cheng suddenly said to Sha Bingshe. By the way, Bingshe, please contact Sha Mo, both of you are here. Okay, brother. Sha Bingshe replied with a smile, then turned and walked out of the office. Soon, all the equipment of Li Zunal and Li Chen was counted. Li Zunli's equipment includes 107 5-star equipment, 65 6-star equipment, 26 7-star equipment, and 8 8-star equipment. Li Chen's equipment is less, 31 5-star equipment, 25 6-star equipment, and 8 7-star equipment. Of course, the two have exchanged usable equipment, all of which can be sold. Li Zunal did not sell the only 9-star Fire Kirin armor. Because 9-star equipment is too rare. After more than an hour of estimation, Sha Cheng found it difficult to give a reasonable price. Because 7-star equipment and 8-star equipment can be auctioned at a high price. He can only estimate the price of 5-star and 6-star equipment. After negotiation, 7-star equipment is 3 million per piece. 8-star equipment is 8 million per piece. The total estimated price of Li Zunli's equipment is 185.2 million. The total estimated price of Li Chen's equipment is 36.6 million. Back to the office, Sha Cheng looked at Li Chen and Li Zunal with a smile. Do you think the price is right? Li Zunal nodded. About the same. Li Chen also nodded and agreed readily. Sha Cheng smiled. Okay, we are all straightforward people, I will transfer the money now. In a few minutes, Sha Cheng transferred the money to Li Zunal and Li Chen. Li Zunal saw the huge amount of money in the card and felt completely financially free. Li Chen also breathed a sigh of relief. In the short term, he would not be short of money. Li Zunal squeezed out a smile. Boss Sha, I wish you a long-lasting business, and we will withdraw. At this time, a young man suddenly walked in from outside the door, with starry eyes and white teeth, and a good temperament. He had a smile on his face. Li Zunal, Li Chen, please wait. Li Zunal was surprised. Who are you? Hello, my name is Sha Mo, a member of the Super God Academy. Sha Mo, When Li Zunil heard this name, his eyes moved. He remembered that he had received a call from this person not long ago, claiming to be from the Shah family. You called me not long ago, right? Li Zunil asked directly. Sha Mo looked at the two with a smile and nodded. Yes, I have been looking for you two for a long time, but I haven't found you. Intelligence shows that you went to the land of divine punishment. Li Zunil and Li Chen looked at each other with a hint of surprise in their eyes. I didn't expect that the other party could investigate so clearly. It seems, this member of the Super God Academy still has something. Li Zunil nodded. That's right. Sha Mo looked as if it was true. He signaled Sha Chang to leave with his eyes, and then slowly closed the office door. Afterwards, he smiled and looked at the two calmly. Please sit down for a while, I have something to communicate with you. Li Zunil sat down slowly and asked in confusion. Communicate, who do you represent, Super God Academy or Shah family? Sha Mo said frankly without haste. Two things, one for Shah family and one for Super God Academy. Li Zunil glanced at Li Chen and then at Sha Mo. He did not speak again, but quietly waited for Sha Mo's next words. Super God Academy, Shah family. To him, it was actually not important. I came to Shah family to sell equipment just because I thought Sha Chang was quite straightforward. As for other things, I didn't care about anything at all. But, considering that basic respect between people should still be there, so it is not impossible to give the other party a few minutes. Sha Mo cleared his throat. Let me introduce myself briefly. My name is Sha Mo, I'm 23 years old, a member of the S group of the Super God Academy, a level 92 paladin, born in the Shah family, so I'm from the Shah family. Li Chen had a hint of confusion on his face. What does S group mean? Sha Mo smiled faintly. People who awaken S-level talents belong to the S group, and people who awaken A-level talents belong to the A group. Li Chen suddenly realized and understood it immediately. Sha Mo continued, I came here today with two tasks. The first task is to invite you to join the Super God Academy, and the second task is to invite you to work for the Shah family. Li Zunil heard this and said softly, to be honest, I don't seem to be very interested in the two invitations you just mentioned. Sha Mo was very surprised and confused. Then what are you interested in? I'm only interested in the cosmic cube now, nothing else. Li Zunil was very frank. Sha Mo was completely confused by Li Zunli's words. Li Zunil continued, I am an orphan, free from worries, desires and demands. I can make money and do things by myself. What can the Super God Academy bring me? Sha Mo looked at Li Zunil meaningfully. You are facing two enemies, one is the Lin family and the other is Qin Wangchuan. In addition, the Super God Academy has enough information to help you enter the cosmic cube. When Li Zunil heard the three words Qin Wangchuan, he was even more surprised. Sha Mo's intelligence network is really powerful. This happened just an hour ago, and he can get information. So perverted. However, what Sha Mo didn't expect was that Li Zunil was not afraid of Qin Wangchuan at all, and even hoped that the other party would find him quickly. Li Zunil said calmly, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm not afraid of the Lin family, nor of Qin Wangchuan. He paused. On the contrary, if they don't look for me, I'll have to look for them. Li Zunli's firm tone and calm expression surprised Sha Mo. He knew that Li Zunil was a bit strong. But the Lin family is not just a bunch of cats and dogs. It's a giant force. Seeing Li Zunli's nonchalant look, Sha Mo knew that Li Zunil might not accept his invitation today. So, he turned to look at Li Chen. Li Chen, what about you? Are you willing to join the Super God Academy? Li Chen looked at Li Zunil, then looked at Sha Mo, and nodded. I am willing to join the Super God Academy, but I am not ready to serve any force at the moment. Sha Mo smiled slightly. Okay, I finally became one. Li Chen asked a question. But, didn't they say that the Super God Academy needs a unified examination? Sha Mo patiently explained. That is for people with insufficient potential. You know the Holy Sword technique, so you don't need a unified examination. Senior Mei Chongshu has already shown us the power of the Holy Sword technique. Li Chen's eyes moved slightly, and he nodded gently. The Holy Sword technique is indeed very powerful. If it weren't for the Holy Sword technique, it is impossible to run to the land of divine punishment and kill so many monsters and beasts. Shamo slowly turned his head and looked at the careless Li Zunal. Li Zunal, although I know you are very powerful, we have analyzed your strength and your shortcomings are very obvious. Li Zunal was immediately interested when he heard this. Tell me, where are my shortcomings? Your biggest shortcoming is that you fight alone without teamwork. Shamo was blunt. Li Zunli's tone was very calm. No, that's not my shortcoming, that's my strength. Shamo said confidently. If I need to tell you about the situation of the cosmic cube, you will know your own shortcomings. Oh, Li Zunal was immediately interested. Before, he had been thinking about whether he had any shortcomings, and found that he had no shortcomings at all. Shamo suddenly said that his shortcomings were obvious. This aroused his great interest. After all, if I want to hurt, I will hurt. If I want to move, I will move. Moreover, my talent is immortal. Even God can't find my shortcomings, right? Shamo talked freely. The cosmic cube is called the cosmic cube because that world is very strange. Do you know what the word universe represents? Li Zunal thought for a moment and thought of a sentence, so he spoke. The four directions above and below are the universe, and the past and present are the universe. Shamo nodded and his eyes lit up. That's right, the meaning of these two words, to be precise, is time and space, and the magic cube, do you know what it means? Magic cube, Li Zunal muttered softly. Seeing Li Zunal thinking, Shamo spoke directly. The Rubik's cube represents confusion and disorder. Li Zunal narrowed his eyes when he heard this. You mean, time and space are disrupted? Shamo nodded. Yes, in the world of the cosmic Rubik's cube, there are many special places where time and space are chaotic and disordered. Time and space in special places are chaotic and disordered. Shamo's words made Li Zunal even more confused. Seeing that Li Zunal was very confused, Shamo continued. To give a simple example, some places have space barriers that prohibit all space jumps, and some places have time barriers that affect the skill cooldown time, which may shorten or extend it. There are also places where you can't fly, and some places where gravity increases several times. In short, it's very complicated. Speaking of this, Shamo paused for a moment and looked at Li Zunal meaningfully. Do you know what this means? At this time, Li Zunal was already very surprised. In just a few words, he could tell what the other party wanted to say. This meant that his teleportation might fail. It also meant that the cooling time he was so proud of might be extended. Seeing that Li Zunal was in deep thought, Shamo continued. You have another biggest weakness. What weakness? Your green light can't penetrate solid objects. For example, walls. Li Zunal looked at Shamo thoughtfully. He remained silent. He had already vaguely understood what the other party was talking about his shortcomings. Seeing Li Zunal lost in thought, Shamo continued. That may not be clear enough. Let me give you an example, maybe you will be more aware of the shortcomings of fighting alone. Shamo seemed to have analyzed Li Zunli's shortcomings very clearly. He paused and talked freely. For example, if you are trapped in such a place, there is a space barrier and a time barrier, and everyone's skill CD is extended 10 times. Shamo said this and picked up an orange and peeled it. While peeling the orange, he continued. At this time, you are one person, and the other party is 10 people, which means that you have a 10-second skill gap, while the other party can take turns to cast skills without a skill gap. Am I expressing it clearly enough? At that time, no matter how powerful a person is, he will be killed by the other party. Li Chen on the side listened to Shamo's words. I was amazed. It turns out that the cosmic cube has such a bizarre place. Space barrier and time barrier. It's too outrageous. No wonder the competition for the luck crystal is so cruel. If you fall into such a place, you will have a hard time saving your life when you meet other races, let alone fighting for the luck crystal. However, Li Chen knew a secret of Li Zunal, immortality. He is already immortal, who else can put him to death? While Li Chen was thinking, Li Zunal was thoughtful. I am not so interested in the Super God Academy, but I am very interested in this cosmic cube. His tone was also a little hesitant. Hearing this, Shamo knew that there seemed to be a little bit of fun. As we all know, the Super God Academy has the key to the teleportation array. It's just that the other party was very hesitant, and he didn't know why. He didn't quite understand. He thought that even if Li Zunal was not short of money, he had no desires. But people should always have the desire to become stronger, right? Shamo has carefully analyzed all of Li Zunli's skills and weaknesses. He used them as some basis for communication and persuasion. But he still didn't expect to defeat the other party. Little did he know, they missed one thing. That is Li Zunli's SSS talent, immortality. At this time, Li Zunil held his chin and thought. What Shamo just said actually had a great impact on him. If the cosmic cube is really as Shamo said, then he can't be considered absolutely invincible, which aroused his curiosity. Of course, he believed that he would definitely not die in the end. The Super God Academy has the key to enter the cosmic cube. This is somewhat tempting to him. Shamo finally asked unwillingly. Think about it again. The Super God Academy can provide information. It can help you enter the cosmic cube. Information. Just when Li Zunil was hesitating, a voice sounded in his mind. Ding, you have a system task to receive. Li Zunil immediately checked the system tasks. 1. Agree to obtain information about entering the cosmic cube. Completion reward. Get a non-god level skill upgrade opportunity. 2. Refuse. Completion reward. Get a skill book Great Healing 3 stars. Skill upgrade opportunity. What if Nirvana Resurrection is upgraded? Is there a chance to save Zhao Hao? He thought for a moment, decided to take a gamble, and nodded. You win, I do need the cosmic cube information. As soon as the voice fell, Shamo looked at Li Zunil in surprise, and was muttering in his heart. I was still hesitating in the last second, and I was so sure in the next second. This big reversal. At this time, the voice of the system daddy sounded in Li Zunli's mind. Please choose the skill you want to upgrade. Li Zunil chose that Nirvana Resurrection skill without hesitation. Ding! Congratulations, your 7-star Nirvana Resurrection skill has been upgraded to a 9-star Rebirth from the Ashes. Li Zunil excitedly checked the information of Rebirth from the Ashes. Skill name, Rebirth from the Ashes. Professional requirements, Priest. Level requirements, Unlimited. Skill effect. Casting this skill on a target that has been dead for no more than 24 hours can allow the target to be reborn and restore to optimal health. CD. 1 minute, casting distance level 1 meter. Skill level, 9 stars. Death within 24 hours. Skill CD is 1 minute, 24 hours. Now it's less than 24 hours since Zhao Hao died. This is God's will. He slapped his thighs excitedly, and then hurriedly got up. Then he grabbed Li Chen's hand and said excitedly, come on, let's go save people. Li Chen was startled, Shamo was also startled. They both found that Li Zunil looked a little happy. He just heard him speak hurriedly. Sorry, Shamo, wait here, we'll go save people first, and then come and talk to you. After that, Li Zunil and Li Chen hurried out. Quote. Seeing the two hurriedly leave, Shamo pursed his lips, very surprised. This is very embarrassing, the first time I've been stood up like this. This Li Zunil doesn't take himself seriously, right? Li Chen was confused and flew with Li Zunil on his sword to 10 miles east of the city. He had a deep look of doubt on his face. Li Zunil, Zhao Hao has been buried, are you sure you can save him? I couldn't before, but I can now, Li Zunil said confidently. All his worries were blown away by the wind. As long as the target died within 24 hours, he could be resurrected. The key is that the CD is only 1 minute. That is to say, you can kill if you want to, and revive if you want to. Li Zunil suddenly thought of a very old-fashioned way of playing in his mind. It is better to kill by mistake than to let go. Resurrect if you kill the wrong target, and don't resurrect if you kill the right one. In the future, if Zhao Hao dares to disobey again, kill him first, let him be quiet for a while, and then revive him. Let him feel the feeling of death. Kill and revive and kill again, kill and revive again. He. Soon, the two came to the grave where Zhao Hao was buried. Li Zunil couldn't wait to look at Li Chen. Come on, do it, I called you here because your holy sword skill is better at digging the soil. Quote. Li Chen's expression became strange when he heard this, and then he used his sword to dig the soil. He was a little speechless. His holy sword skill, a great killing skill, was always used to dig the soil. This is really ridiculous. Li Zunil saw Li Chen's cautious look and couldn't help urging him. Hurry up. What if you hurt Zhao Hao's body? Don't be afraid. Quote. Li Chen was speechless and immediately sped up. A few minutes later, Zhao Hao's body appeared in the eyes of Li Zunil and Li Chen. Because of the fast speed, Li Chen's sword scratched Zhao Hao's thigh and almost hit his vitals. But Li Zunil said it was okay. Li Zunli's eyes lit up, his heart was excited, and his hands were shaking. He waved his staff lightly, and a ball of red flame that seemed to be the size of a fist appeared from his staff. As he waved his staff, the red flame fell directly on Zhao Hao's body. The moment the flame touched Zhao Hao's body, it spread directly and covered his entire body. It seemed to be burning, but there was no smell of burning. It was the newly released 9-star skill, Reborn from the Ashes. It was still hot. However, this scene looked like Zhao Hao was cremating. Li Chen couldn't help but mutter. Li Zunil, are you sure you are resurrecting him, not cremating him? Li Zunli's mouth twitched, and his expression was a little weird. It really looked like cremation. He repeatedly checked the skill he had just cast, and it was indeed reborn from the ashes. Only then did he feel relieved. He muttered, the skill is called Reborn from the Ashes, so it's reasonable to have a little fire, right? After muttering, Li Zunil and Li Chen quietly waited for a miracle. At this time, Li Chen was confused. Li Zunli's skill was obviously not cooled down, how could he be resurrected? And it seemed different from the resurrection skill that saved his sister. Did he suddenly find another resurrection skill book from his backpack? Learned another resurrection skill? I don't understand. Finally, 20 seconds later, the flame on Zhao Hao's body sank into his body. After coughing, he slowly woke up. All the wounds on his body were healed as before, and he was full of energy, as if he had just woken up. There was some dirt on his body and in his mouth. Phew, he spit out the dirt in his mouth and looked around. He found Li Zunil and Li Chen at a glance. Brother, why are you here? After saying that, he found that there was a big mud pit next to him. With a look of surprise on his face, he looked at Li Zunil. Brother, how come I am here? Li Zunli's tone was a little strange. Yes. I remember that after I felt a sharp pain in my back, I lost consciousness. Did I die again? Li Chen nodded on the side. Yes, you died and were resurrected by your brother. When Li Chen saw Zhao Hao resurrected, most of the guilt in his heart disappeared. Zhao Hao quickly said, Brother, how can I be so embarrassed? You saved my life again. Or, let you die again. Don't worry, brother. Zhao Hao shook his head immediately. Li Zunil waved his hand. Rishan, let's go back to Qin Wangchuan for revenge, and then destroy the Lin family. When Zhao Hao heard it, he suddenly realized. Did Qin Wangchuan do it to me? That should be right. Li Zunil nodded. Zhao Hao immediately spoke out. This Qin Wangchuan, I must kill him. After saying that, he angrily took out a long sword from his character backpack, eager to try. Li Zunil saw Zhao Hao's paper tiger look and said lightly. Okay, Rishan, from now on, I will take you with me whenever I fight. Zhao Hao's eyes were a little evasive. Ah, brother, this. At this time, Li Chen suddenly spoke on the side. Then where is Sha Mo? Li Zunil heard Li Chen's words and suddenly thought of Sha Mo. It seemed that he was still waiting for him in Sha Chenghei's office. However, he suddenly thought of the dead Tang Long and Qin Chuan's dead mother. He muttered in his heart, you are lucky. He turned his head to look at Li Chen. You take Zhao Hao to his parents first, I will deal with some small things, and then go to Sha Chenghei's office. Li Chen nodded when he heard it. Then, Li Zunil waved his staff and suddenly disappeared in front of the two. Zhao Hao's eyes widened, his pupils trembling. Brother, is this an immortal? Li Chen was no longer surprised. This is a teleportation skill that defies the heavens. Let's go, I'll take you to your parents. The surprise on Zhao Hao's face could not dissipate for a long time. A teleportation skill that defies the heavens. Is the elder brother so strong? While he was thinking, Li Chen's sword was suspended in front of him and he looked at Zhao Hao. Let's go, Zhao Hao, get on the sword. Zhao Hao saw Li Chen's sword suspended in the air and laughed, not surprised at all. Ha ha ha, sorry, I also know how to control the sword. After laughing, he gestured, and the long sword in his hand was suspended in front of him in an instant. It just looked a circle smaller than Li Chen's sword. Like a younger brother. This sword control technique is the 6-star sword control technique that Li Zunul asked Wang Hao to bring to Zhao Hao. Seeing that Li Chen's sword is bigger than his, Zhao Hao couldn't help but envy. Yours is still bigger. When Li Chen heard it, he always felt that this sentence was a bit strange. But he couldn't put it into words. Zhao Hao spoke to himself. But this thing, it's enough. As soon as he finished speaking, he jumped on his sword. Seeing that Zhao Hao was playing well, Li Chen nodded and said, "Okay, follow me." After speaking, 2 streams of light disappeared into the air. In front of the 9th District Law Enforcement Bureau. Tang Xiaosan squatted in front of Tang Long's body and had calmed down. He lowered his head and clenched his fists, not knowing what he was thinking. Wang Hong also squatted beside him, with his hand on his shoulder to comfort him. At this time, a figure suddenly appeared in front of the Law Enforcement Bureau. The nearby law enforcers were all frightened. They looked closely and found that it was Li Zunul, and they were relieved. Li Zunul said calmly to Tang Xiaosan and Wang Hong, "All of you get out of my way." Wang Hong and Tang Xiaosan was very surprised to hear this, and stared at Li Zunul in a daze. Li Zunul saw Wang Hong and Tang Xiaosan were stunned, and spoke again. "Be obedient, get out of the way." Wang Hong's eyes kept rolling, and he slowly stood up and pulled Tang Xiaosan away. Li Zunul glanced at his Rebirth from the Ashes skill CD. The skill had already cooled down. After all, the CD was only 1 minute. He waved his staff, and a fist-sized red flame emerged from his staff. As he pointed his staff, the flame directly covered Tang Long's body, enveloped Tang Long's body, and burned. Tang Xiaosan was extremely surprised and asked in confusion, "Li Zunul, are you cremating my elder brother?" Li Zunul said with a strange look on his face. "Although this looks like cremation, it is actually saving him." Wang Hong and Tang Xiaosan were both confused. Is this saving people? This is clearly cremation. Be careful not to touch him. After saying that, Li Zunul looked at Wang Hao again. "Wang Hao, don't get involved in the matter between me and the Lin family." Without waiting for Wang Hao to answer, Li Zunul waved his sleeves and teleported away, without taking a cloud with him. Wang Hong and Tang Xiaosan were confused. He just left like that. The fire was still burning on Tang Long. It was just strange that there was no smell of burning or anything like that. About 20 seconds, the fire on Tang Long's body sank into his body and disappeared, and the wounds on his body healed. Then, his body gradually moved. Then he slowly opened his eyes, full of energy and spirit. There was no sign of decay after death at all. Tang Xiaosan exclaimed, "Brother, you are alive." Wang Hong was also very surprised to see this. Good man, this Li Zunul burned Tang Long alive with a fire. What kind of magical skill is this? Like cremation. Tang Long slowly got up and touched his whole body, and found that he was intact. He was very surprised. "I remember being hit by Qin Tian's knife, but I didn't die." Wang Hong immediately asked, "Are you sure it was Qin Tian who killed you?" "It was him." Sure enough, Tang Xiaosan hugged Tang Long. "Brother, you were killed, but resurrected by Li Zunul." Tang Long was slightly stunned. Then, he nodded seriously. "Where is he?" "Gone," Tang Xiaosan answered. Tang Long nodded thoughtfully, and then his tone became heavier. "What about Qin Tian?" "Dead." Wang Hong looked melancholy. "Good death." Tang Long was very angry. Obviously he was very angry about Qin Tian's behavior, stabbing himself with a knife when he was not prepared. Then, he looked thoughtful. "It seems that I owe Li Zunul a life." 10 minutes later, a street in the 9th district. Qin Chuan was still in a daze, with regret on his face. A huge sense of self-blame filled his mind. He was in a daze on the street for a long time. Suddenly, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him and looked at him quietly. It was Li Zunul. Qin Chuan spotted him from the corner of his eye and said in surprise, Li Zunul." Li Zunul looked at Qin Chuan with interest. "Qin Chuan, I have to say, you are very lucky." Sha Changhai's office. Sha Mo saw Li Chen and Li Zunul coming back, raised his eyebrows, and said with interest, "This is the first time I have been stood up like this." Li Zunul said carelessly, "Don't worry about the details." Sha Mo's mouth twitched, and his inner thoughts were very rich. Look at what he said. As if I care, I have no vision. It was obviously his fault, why did he say that? However, as a well-educated young man, Shamo really didn't care. He held his chin with his right hand and smiled. Okay, let's continue. He glanced at the two people, and his tone paused slightly. In other words, both of you are willing to join the Super God Academy, but you are not prepared to serve any force. Li Zunul nodded lightly, very seriously. What a joke, serving other forces. With my own strength, I can represent a force. Aside. Li Chen also nodded. I really don't have the idea of working for a certain force. Shamo was unwilling to accept this and continued to persuade. You know, the treatment in the Shah family is very good. Li Zunul said lightly. I have more than 200 million in my card. Li Chen also said. I also have tens of millions in my card. Shamo's eyes turned, not willing. Then you don't have a desire for power. Li Zunul shook his head. It can be said that I have no interest. On the side, Li Chen also shook his head. Shamo did not forget to ask at the end. What about beauties? Don't you like beauties? Li Zunul was stunned when he heard this, and suddenly remembered the girlfriend who made him eat noodles and travel through time. So he shook his head decisively. This thing is not interesting. And Li Chen on the side also shook his head gently. Seeing this, Shamo confirmed that his task of inviting two talents to work for the Shah family had failed. He smiled. Okay, I understand. Do you two want to go with me to the Super God Academy to report now, or do you want to report within a month? Li Zunul thought that he had not killed Qin Wangchuan yet. He had not dealt with the Lin family yet. So he answered seriously. I still have some things to do. After I deal with them, I will report myself. Shamo nodded and looked at Li Chen. Li Chen, what about you? Li Chen hesitated. I will go to the Super God Academy with you, but I have a sister who also wants to go. Shamo nodded and understood very well. No problem, then Li Chen, take your sister and follow me. Li Zunul looked at Li Chen with a smile. Congratulations, joining the Super God Academy. Congratulations. By the way, Li Chen, don't get involved in the feud between me and the Lin family in the future. Ah, okay. Li Chen looked at the floor and answered hesitantly. I don't know what he was thinking. At this time. Dong dong dong. There was a knock on the door. Shamo immediately said, come in. Sha Cheng pushed the door open and looked at Li Zunul with a smile. He held a golden card in his hand. Li Zunul, this is your Sha Cheng VIP card. I didn't contact you before, and you are here this time. Li Zunul slowly took the gold card and looked at it carefully. It looks like this card is quite valuable. Sha Cheng laughed. That's a must, most people don't have it. With this card, you can get half price in all shopping malls under Sha Cheng, but you can't resell it. If you are found, you will be banned. Understood. Li Zunul took the card and walked out the door. Before the door, he turned back. I'm leaving, you continue. After that, he left in style. He is going to do something very important now. Kill Qin Wangchuan. This old fool will be a disaster if he is not eliminated as soon as possible. He came to the street. He wanted to find Wang Hong to get Qin Wangchuan's home address and go directly to his house. But he found a new message on his phone. It was from Qin Wangchuan. The text message was, since my father's plan failed, I admit that I killed Zhao Hao. There must be a life and death battle between us, 10 miles south of the city, to determine the winner and the loser. Come quickly. Li Zunul checked the time. It was just half an hour ago. Li Zunul smiled happily. Good, very good, he muttered in his heart. I'm collecting crystals for the 9th district, and you're messing with my brother. If I don't kill you this time, I'm not Li. Thinking of this, he quickly rushed to 10 miles south of the city. His blood was completely boiling. I am not afraid that Qin Wangchuan will threaten me and fight me to the death. I am afraid that he will hide and not show up. Since the other party is confident that he dares to fight me to the death, I will kill him. Li Zunul rushed to the duel site at a speed of hundreds of meters per second. The wind whistled and the Yishui River was cold. Soon, Li Zunul appeared 10 miles south of the city. This is a wilderness with several hills on it. It looks like the environment is more suitable for assassins. But Li Zunul was not afraid at all. Suddenly, Li Zunli's eyes lit up, and he saw Qin Wangchuan. The other party did not sneak. However, there was a person in front of him, and he was clamped tightly. Looking closely, why is it Zhao Hao who has suffered so much? His mouth was wrapped with tape, and his hands and feet were tied up. This guy was just sent back not long ago. Qin Wangchuan saw Li Zunli's figure, his face was gloomy. Li Zunil, you are finally here. Li Zunil narrowed his eyes and said in an unhappy tone. Qin Wangchuan, it turns out that you still use this old trick. He looked contemptuous and continued. Is this what you said about deciding the superiority and the inferiority, and deciding life and death? After that, Li Zunil kept muttering in his heart. Disappointment. So disappointed. He thought it would be a peak showdown like the Dragon Ball dungeon, but this is the result. Qin Wangchuan didn't care. Competition is competition. Life and death is life and death, there is a world of difference. Then, he said in a deep voice. I heard that your resurrection technique can only save one person a day. His tone was very firm. This Zhao Hao should have died, but he came back to life. You must have used the resurrection technique. He hid behind Zhao Hao. That is to say, your resurrection technique must be on cooldown. He stared at Li Zunil fiercely, and his voice gradually rose. Now you have two choices. Either you commit suicide, or he dies. Hearing this, Li Zunli's mouth corners slightly raised, threatening himself. Suicide, I really can't do this, and no one can do it. He didn't say anything nonsense, and gently raised the staff, and dozens of green lights directly covered the firepower. Without any hesitation, for a while, whether it was Zhao Hao or Qin Wangchuan, all were hit by the green light. Qin Wangchuan widened his eyes, totally in disbelief. He never thought that the other party would not care about Zhao Hao's life or death. He actually directly covered with firepower. Isn't he afraid of Zhao Hao's death? Qin Wangchuan was very confused. The person he had worked so hard to get was like a decoration, without any threat at all. Is this man a devil? Kill relatives for the sake of justice. Don't recognize relatives. Of course he didn't know that Li Zunli's resurrection technique had just been upgraded. Li Zunli's gameplay has completely changed. Don't recognize relatives. Direct firepower coverage, no matter who you are. After killing, save those who should be saved, and die those who should die. Now, as long as the death does not exceed 24 hours, everything is in time. Seeing both of them lying on the ground without life, Li Zunil walked up slowly and leisurely, still muttering. It's a battle of life and death. That's it. This is so unprofessional. It's not as good as the battle in the Dragon Ball dungeon. Li Zunil walked to Zhao Hao calmly and cast rebirth from the ashes on him. Not long after, he was resurrected, and the first thing he said when he woke up was, Brother, I'm dead again. Li Zunil rolled his eyes at him. Didn't I save you? After that, he looked at Qin Wangchuan's body and snorted. This cancer has finally been cleared by me. It feels good. He smiled strangely, feeling that this matter was not that simple. Then, his eyes rolled, and he thought, Rishan, let's go. Let's do something big. Big things. Good. I've wanted to do something big since I was a child. We can't let the Lin family get away with it, let's rob their property. Remember, you are the gangster Zhao Rishan, and I am the gangster Li Zunwan. Brother, your name is Li Zunil. A nickname, similar to yours, Zhao Rishan, that rhymes. Okay, brother, did you just say rob? Robbery of Lin's property. Zhao Hao opened his mouth wide and stared at Li Zunil in disbelief. I am a law-abiding citizen. Is it appropriate to rob? After thinking for half a second, he slapped himself in the face. What the hell is he still hesitating about? It must be appropriate. The Lin family dared to kill me to steal my equipment. Isn't it unreasonable for me to rob his Lin family's things? Nonsense. This is simply acting on behalf of heaven. It's so reasonable. While thinking, he muttered. But, the gangster Zhao Rishan. The gangster Li Zunwan. Not to mention, it sounds pretty smooth. He suddenly remembered something and asked Li Zunil. Brother, is the CD of your resurrection skill very short now? Yes, it's very short. The CD only takes 1 minute. That means I don't have to worry about death at all. Yes, but if you don't listen to me, you may die every day. Li Zunil stared at Zhao Hao with interest, his mouth curled up exaggeratedly, and a strange smile appeared on his face. Zhao Hao's scalp was numb because of Li Zunli's stare. Die every day. What kind of tiger and wolf words are these? What kind of inhuman life is this? What kind of old six brothers are these? Li Zunil raised his mouth, harder to suppress than AK. If someone threatens me with you in the future, I will kill them all without hesitation, and then resurrect you depending on my mood. Quote. Zhao Hao pursed his lips speechlessly. That means I have to be ready to die at any time. That's right, you should think like this. You can't die anyway, so what's there to be afraid of? Fight to the front line in the future. Zhao Hao's eyes showed clear eyes. Wise and stupid. Li Zunli's words seemed to have touched his soul. While Zhao Hao was thinking, Li Zunil waved his hand carelessly. Let's go, let's settle your parents, and then go and cause trouble. Okay, let's go. The two used their magical powers, one flying a sword, and the other teleporting, and left quickly. However, after the two figures disappeared, a figure slowly walked out from the side of a hill. Take a closer look. It turned out to be a white-robed male priest in his 50s, with a stubble beard and a gleam in his eyes. He quickly came to Qin Wangchuan's body and gently waved his staff. A fist-sized white light sank into Qin Wangchuan's body. Less than 30 seconds, Qin Wangchuan slowly opened his eyes, still frightened by Li Zunli's firepower coverage. After a moment, he quickly stood up, with a slight smile on his face. Fortunately, I have Plan B, Uncle San. Is my performance in place? It depends on the other party's understanding of you. Qin Wangchuan nodded thoughtfully. He knew that Li Zunil was difficult to kill. Last time, he had used all means, but still couldn't kill him. Now, he found that Li Zunli's level was more than 10 levels higher than his. And he had the teleportation skill, so the possibility of killing him was zero. So this plan, either force him to commit suicide, or die once and disappear from the other party's eyes. Keep things quiet and don't involve his family. Then, he will slowly develop and find other ways to kill him. He heard that the cosmic cube is very magical, and there may be a chance to kill the other party in that environment. Just when Qin Wangchuan was secretly proud, a figure suddenly appeared in front of the two, looking at Qin Wangchuan and the white-robed priest with interest. Qin Wangchuan, your acting is really a bit poor this time. Qin Wangchuan looked carefully and his face changed suddenly. Li Zunil. After saying that, he entered the stealth state without hesitation, and his movements were skillful. However, Li Zunil directly waved his staff, and 660 green lights shot out in all directions. Full fire coverage, wave after wave. After running a few steps, the white-robed priest died on the spot. And Qin Wangchuan's figure also appeared in the void dozens of meters away. Then, he fell heavily to the ground. Looking at the bodies of the two, Li Zunil raised his mouth. My performance just now should be on point, right? At this time, Zhao Hao also came back and immediately gave a thumbs up. He really has a trick up his sleeve. Brother, you are really this. Rishan, you use your sword to destroy them, and then dig a deep pit to bury them. Good. Soon, the two returned to the city. After settling Zhao's father and mother in a safe and hidden place, they looked for the Lin family's property. Qin Wangchuan did not touch Zhao's father and mother. Li Zunil guessed that Qin Wangchuan was worried that his own family would be targeted at that time. So he did not resort to this last resort. Li Zunil also therefore, he gave up the idea of exterminating the whole family. After thinking about it, he called Sha Chang directly and asked for a copy of the Lin family's industrial information in Wolong City. He knew that Sha Chang had information about the Lin family's industry. As a competitor, it was unlikely that he didn't have information about the other party. He looked at the information on his phone. Lin's auction, Lin's equipment store, Lin's jewelry store, Lin's bath shop. He found that the closest to them was the auction. Li Zunil rushed to the auction without saying a word, taking Zhao Hao. In his opinion, there should be good things at the auction. Just grab them for him. Zhao Hao suddenly grabbed Li Zunli's hand. Brother, do you want to buy a pair of stockings to put on your head? Why, I think there should be a sense of ritual here. Li Zunil rolled his eyes at him. If you want to put it on, put it on. Anyway, I won't put it on. Zhao Hao smiled and said, then wait for me. After that, he ran to a lingerie store next to him. He rummaged around the store rudely. After a while, he came back excitedly with 2 pairs of black stockings in his hands. He looked wretched. The salesman at the door of the store stood at the door, looking at Zhao Hao's back in confusion. That expression seemed to say, "This guy doesn't look like a good person." Zhao Hao took 2 pairs of brand new black stockings and handed one to Li Zunil. "Brother, do you want a pair?" "I don't need it." Li Zunil rolled his eyes and ran straight to the Lin's auction building. Zhao Hao put away the stockings and followed him, still muttering. "These stockings are very smooth, good quality, and can't be torn easily." He shook his head, not knowing why. This was the first time he played with stockings so confidently. He could only look at them before. Still on the phone. The two came to the entrance of Lin's auction building. Immediately, a staff member came to stop them. "Welcome, do you have an appointment?" Li Zunil shook his head. "No appointment." "Sorry, gentlemen, you need an appointment to enter the auction venue." Li Zunil was about to teleport in, but saw Zhao Hao on the side. After thinking for a while, he took out his law enforcement captain's ID and said seriously, "We are here for something, not to mess around." After seeing Li Zunli's ID, the staff hesitated for a moment and let him go. Li Zunil pretended to walk towards the auction venue. Zhao Hao also followed Li Zunil in a proper manner. Swaggering, a typical follower. The staff always felt that something was wrong, but couldn't tell. He kept looking at the backs of Li Zunil and Zhao Hao until they disappeared from his sight. Li Zunil and his companion followed the sign and quickly arrived at the auction venue, where they chose 2 empty seats to sit down. Someone gave them a number plate. "No. 250. Li Zunil pursed his lips, looked around, and found some security adventurers. No less than 20. At this time, the auction was in progress. On the exhibition stand, there were 5 good equipment in the display cabinet. The auction screen was magnifying and displaying the information of an equipment, 7-star golden jade glazed staff. The offer for the 7-star golden jade glazed staff had reached 2.3 million. At this time, the venue was still quoting 2.35 million, 2.36 million, 2.37 million. Looking at this scene, Li Zunil suddenly came up with a plan, looking at Zhao Hao's wise eyes. "Shit, do you know how to bid and cause trouble?" Zhao Hao curled his lips. "Brother, do you look down on me? Who can't bid?" Li Zunil nodded with relief. "You bid the highest price, and these equipment belong to us. In the end, we won't pay. Do you understand?" "Okay, don't worry, brother." After Zhao Hao nodded, he immediately said, 3 million. As soon as the voice fell, countless people looked at Zhao Hao in surprise. Will this guy give a price? Others raised the price by 10,000, 20,000, or 50,000. This guy actually raised the price to the ceiling. Isn't this flipping the table? When everyone questioned Zhao Hao's offer, a female voice came from the venue, 3.01 million. Zhao Hao held up the sign and said without hesitation, 3.5 million. The female voice continued, 3.51 million. Zhao Hao was very unhappy and started to act rogue. "No matter how much the girl bids, I will add 1 yuan." Quiet. The venue was completely silent. At this time, the girl's voice came again, then 5 million. Zhao Hao was not to be outdone, 5 million plus 1 yuan. The auction host immediately felt something was wrong. "Staff, please verify the capital of the 2 of you." Immediately, a staff member walked towards Zhao Hao and the girl. Zhao Hao panicked. "Brother, the capital verification." "Don't worry, my 200 million is not a joke. Keep making trouble, keep playing." As soon as the voice fell, a staff member came to verify the funds. After seeing the balance of the 2 small goals in Li Zunli's card, they were slightly surprised, and then immediately retreated respectfully. These 2 were really rich. At the booth, the host saw that there was no problem with the capital verification. So he looked at Zhao Hao and said, "Friend number 250, I'm sorry, this auction price must be increased by 10,000 yuan at least, not 1 yuan." After speaking, he looked embarrassed and looked at Zhao Hao innocently. There was no way. He was an auction host, and he was not very rich. This was just his job, and he dared to offend everyone below easily. Because any one of them could be a local tyrant, or a high-ranking official with power. Zhao Hao was a little displeased when he heard this. He turned his head to look at Li Zunil and whispered, "Brother, why don't we just rob it directly? Is it fun to shout like that?" Li Zunli's eyes were thoughtful. "Then can your sword controlling skills break the glass of the display cabinet on the stand?" Zhao Hao was very confident. "Brother, let alone glass, I can also break iron." Li Zunil smiled with his mouth corners raised. "Okay, then you can find an excuse to make trouble, and then use your sword to destroy the glass, and I will teleport to take the equipment away." When Zhao Hao heard this, his voice suddenly the price was raised a few degrees. "What the hell, why can't we add $1 at a time?" The host saw Zhao Hao's unhappy face and hesitated. "Our auction can't be played like this." Zhao Hao immediately took the opportunity to throw a tantrum. "Can't be played like this? That means you can't afford it. If you can't afford it, don't play." The host felt like he was going to lose control and panicked. "This is the rule of our auction." Zhao Hao's face sank. "Rules? What rules? My rules are the rules." After that, Zhao Hao directly took out a long sword and gestured. The long sword flew up with his fingers and passed through the display cabinet on the booth at a very fast speed. The glass of the display cabinet was shattered and scattered all over the floor. 5 auction items were directly exposed to the air. But what surprised Li Zunil was, Zhao Hao's sword accidentally pierced the host's stomach directly. Blood gushed out. The auction venue was in chaos. Who would have thought that someone would kill someone just because of a disagreement? All the people who came to buy things ran away in a hurry. Li Zunil saw this and thought to himself, "This Zhao Rishan is really a tiger." He no longer hesitated and directly used Holy Teleport to come to the booth. He calmly put the 5 auction items into his backpack. At a glance, they were all 7-star equipment. Good stuff. At this time, the adventurers who maintained security all changed their faces. This is the first time that a safety accident has occurred. It has never happened before. Before, all the adventurers who were responsible for security were absent-minded and even played mobile games. Who would have thought? The host was lying on the ground in the next second, spitting blood, dying, and still saying, "Save me, save me." So, all the security adventurers around jumped out, took out their weapons, and stood ready. "Listen, everyone on the booth, put down your equipment. You are surrounded." Li Zunil was stunned when he heard this. Why does this sound so familiar? However, he didn't care at all, and his eyes swept over more than 20 adventurers, calmly. "Yes, you are surrounded by me." After saying that, he waved his staff, and more than 20 green lights hit those adventurers respectively. It was that strange poison, smiling half-step madness. He added, "Smile, don't move, or you will suffer inhuman torture." Then, he looked at the host lying on the ground. "Are you from the Lin family?" The host was lingering, with blood on the corner of his mouth. "No, I'm just a worker. I have parents and parents." "Don't you have children?" "I haven't married yet, and my girlfriend wants too much gift money, I can't afford it." "Since you are not from the Lin family, you are lucky." As soon as the voice fell, Li Zunil gently raised his hand and waved his staff, and a ball of green light took the host away directly. Then, he cast rebirth from the ashes. A ball of fire burned on him. The adventurers around him suddenly became uneasy. Is this killing someone and cremating him? Is he killing someone and then destroying the body? Is he so rampant now? How can this guy be so rampant, killing people and destroying the body? It's really unreasonable. A seemingly adventurer, the captain's men shouted loudly. "Asshole, I advise you to be kind." After saying that, he was ready to rush forward with other adventurers to stop Li Zunil. As a result, all the adventurers were about to move, but they found that they didn't know why a sharp pain hit their bodies, and they didn't dare to move a step. But there were 2 people who were particularly brave, a man and a woman. Although the 2 did not move, their mouths were not idle at all. The man cursed, "Your uncle, you dare to mess around, wait until my Sangbo state is ready, see if I can do it to you." The woman's mouth was also very poisonous. "This young man is not a good person at first glance. If I catch him, I will make him a duck." Li Zunli's mouth twitched, and he couldn't control his mouth. He made up his mind, raised his hand again, and released another ray of light, hitting the man who cursed. Poisoning moment. The man's face began to swell and turn green, which was extremely ugly. It was one of the strange poisons, the face-changing poison. Li Zunli's scalp was numb when he saw it. It was too ugly. Sangbo felt that something was wrong with his face, and immediately asked in panic. What did you do to my face? Li Zunil was at ease. You were poisoned by the face-changing poison, and now you are uglier than that toad. After saying that, Li Zunil looked at the woman. Hey, I think you don't want to be like him, right? The woman saw Sangbo's face-changing appearance, and suddenly fell silent, not daring to talk nonsense. At this time, the host on the ground stood up alive and well. He touched himself carefully, and there was nothing wrong. Even the hemorrhoids on his buttocks were gone. He even felt that his girlfriend's complaints about his problems seemed to be gone. He was shocked. He stared at Li Zunil with wide eyes, as if he was looking at a strange thing. Li Zunil saw that everyone was quiet and the people who bought the auction items had all fled, so he felt that it was time to say a few words. So, he cleared his throat. Listen carefully. I am the gangster Li Zunwan, and he is the gangster Zhao Rishan. We have no other intentions, we just want to cause trouble. Let me ask, are there any people from the Lin family here? The host shook his head repeatedly. No one from the Lin family is here, they only come to take a look occasionally. Li Zunil nodded thoughtfully. Okay, since there are no people from the Lin family, I won't make things difficult for others. We are here for the people from the Lin family. Tell them that if they offend us, the gangsters, all the industries under the Lin family will be ruined by us. He paused and emphasized. Tell them again. To offend us is to offend the god of death. Everyone was stunned when they heard this. How could someone come here to seek death? They came here to shout. Aren't they afraid of the Lin family's revenge? Oh my god. The host hesitated. Ah, the gangster Zhao Rishan, the gangster Li Zunwan, okay, I'll pass on the message. Li Zunil walked out of the auction venue with a swagger. Zhao Hao shook his head, as if looking at people with his nose, and followed Li Zunil out. At the last moment, Zhao Hao suddenly said, Brother, wait a minute. Li Zunil looked back at Zhao Hao. What are you doing? Wait for me to destroy it. After Zhao Hao finished speaking, he flew around with his flying sword, destroying the exhibition stand, large screen, wall, chair. All facilities. Li Zunil saw this scene and his eyes lit up. Your operation is very good, very spiritual. After speaking, he then walked out with Zhao Hao. Someone couldn't help asking, then our poison. The poison will naturally be removed after 1 hour. As soon as the voice fell, the two used their magical powers, one flying a sword, and the other teleporting. Easily left the auction building. Street corner. Li Zunil stood quietly, he was carefully checking the 5 7-star equipment. These 5 7-star equipment include a knife, a sword, a staff, a spear, and a bow and arrow. He gave the sword directly to Zhao Hao. As for the other equipment, he hasn't figured out how to deal with it yet. After all, he is not short of money, so there is no need to sell it. He decided to keep it for now. Zhao Hao was very excited and pulled Li Zunli's arm. This job is fun. I got several 7-star equipment in a blink of an eye. He smiled and stuffed the equipment Li Zunil gave him into his backpack, and asked, Who should we go after next? Li Zunil took his mobile phone and was about to check the next target, but the phone suddenly turned off. The tone was a bit disappointing. It's a bit disappointing. Let's go eat something and charge the battery. We'll do something else. Okay, big brother. Rishan, why didn't you bring your stockings just now? It doesn't seem right. What about your stockings? Take them back home and keep them. Li Zunli's eyes showed a meaningful look. He smiled and said nothing. Zhao Hao looked at Li Zunli's strange smile and blushed. Brother, what does your smile mean? I'm just smiling, it doesn't mean anything. After that, Li Zunil looked around, looking for a place to eat. Suddenly, his eyes lit up and he saw a restaurant named Lin's Jinulo, a 5-star top restaurant. He chuckled and then turned his head to signal Zhao Hao. Let's go have a free meal today. After eating, smash the pot. Zhao Hao followed Li Zunli's gaze and immediately clapped his hands. Lin's, good. Let's go. Zhao Hao was very excited. This is his first time to go to a top restaurant, and he's going to have a free meal. Isn't this hitting his own gun? Originally, these delicious foods and drinks are not cheap. The food in this top restaurant is even more expensive. A meal must cost tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, right? Eat up everything, refuse to admit it, and finally do some destruction. Just thinking about it is exciting. Li Zunli's mind was full of thoughts. Lin family, top family. The bigger the family, the more weaknesses it has. And they will be destroyed one by one. Li Zunil and Zhao Hao came to the front of Lin's Jinyu building. Immediately, a beautiful receptionist came to greet them. Welcome, how many people are there? 2, please come in. Li Zunil said lightly. The most expensive private room, the most expensive dishes, the most expensive service, we are not short of money. The receptionist was stunned when she heard this, and immediately nodded enthusiastically. Like a chicken pecking at rice. Okay. She didn't expect these two young people, at such a young age, to be so generous. Who knows which rich second generation it is. Leave a good impression, maybe you can catch a rich husband. With a smile on her face, she took the two of them to the private room with the best view and environment. 8th floor, floor-to-ceiling windows. Standing in the private room, you can see out at a glance. Li Zunil and Zhao Hao slightly restrained their happy emotions. Pretending to be accustomed to it, Li Zunil said to the waitress. The top 10 most expensive dishes, each with 2 servings. The waitress was a little worried. If it's 2 servings, the price will add up to 2 million. Li Zunil shook his head gently, not short of money. Seeing that the waitress was still hesitant, Li Zunil wanted to take out his mobile phone to show his ability to make money, but he found that the battery was out. So, he took out 4 7-star equipment and 1 9-star equipment. Look, I can take this stuff out easily, do I need money? The young lady was so surprised to see 4 7-star equipment. When she saw the 9-star equipment, her eyes were instantly straight. 9-star equipment, not to mention 9-star equipment, she has never seen 7-star equipment. Moreover, she has seen many rich people. But there are very few people who take out the top equipment among the top equipment. Although she doesn't understand equipment, she can count the rotating golden stars on the equipment. The more stars, the more expensive it is. In the market, 5 or 6 stars are already worth a lot of money. Not simple. She immediately realized that these two people were not simple. So he nodded repeatedly. Okay, wait a moment, I'll go take your order and tell the kitchen to serve you the food. Li Zunil was very satisfied with her performance. Right, hurry up. When the waitress walked out of the room, Zhao Hao laughed. He gave Li Zunil a thumbs up. Brother, when it comes to pretending, you are really this. Li Zunil shook his head gently, pretending. Do I need to pretend? After that, Li Zunil looked around for the socket in the room. I have to say that the service in the private room is really thoughtful, and chargers are available. He immediately charged his mobile phone. I charged it in the hospital for a few minutes before, but I didn't have time to charge it. Li Zunil lay on the chair and closed his eyes to rest. After returning from the land of God's punishment, troubles have never stopped. Zhao Hao died twice a day. It's really bad luck. Li Zunil was thinking about how to deal with the remaining fragments of his luck crystal. It is not appropriate to make a profit, this thing is equivalent to the lives of ordinary people. Don't say that you are not short of money. Even if you are short of money, you can't use this to make a profit. This is the bottom line. At this time, Zhao Hao excitedly said, Brother, I feel hungry and thirsty for a long time, ready to eat a lot. Li Zunil closed his eyes. Shut up, I'll take a break, I'm a little sleepy. Zhao Hao is still like a chatterbox. Brother, I think the layout of this private room is really stylish. Brother, don't you think my equipment is handsome? Brother, look downstairs, there is a black silk beauty. Brother, I think. Li Zunil couldn't bear it anymore, suddenly opened his eyes, took out the staff and waved it, and a ball of green light instantly hit Zhao Hao. Then Zhao Hao fell straight down. Bang! Li Zunil finally felt that the world was quiet. Close your eyes and rest. Soon, the beautiful waitress pushed the food cart into the room. Seeing Zhao Hao lying down, her face suddenly changed color and she screamed. What happened to him? What happened to him? Li Zunil opened his eyes and said nonchalantly. He just fell asleep. Don't be afraid. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.